B&A Petroleum. Fuel you once, fuel you forever.
Here at Home Hardware's Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno sale, everyone's saving on everything they need to give their space a new look. Like cooking up a new kitchen style with 20% off select cabinetry and countertops. Or finally finishing up that deck they started last summer with 20% off select Benchmark tools and accessories. Whoa! Nailed it! Earn and redeem Scene Plus points during the Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno sale. On now at Home Hardware and Building Centers.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Here we go. It's Monday for our friends at Kellen Solar in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. It's Barney Shinkaruk. Chris Mazurik's going to be joining momentarily. Coulson and Allen. If you're watching on the stream, thank you. Sportscage.com, on X as well. And, of course, always on 620 CKRM. It is recapping the weekend and going into a Monday. There's so much going on in our province. We're going to recap, of course, hockey. We got playoff hockey, SJHL, AAA Midget, Prairie Junior Hockey League, some minor hockey league, curling, Rachel Holman. Woo. She's the GOAT, for sure. We got Hoopla to recap. Regina Pats season comes to an end. Al Millar going to join us in Hour 1. Hour 2, NHL insider Eric Francis. Calgary Flames. He's the beat reporter, or he follows the Flames. We're going to get into more than just the Flames, but I don't know. Are they cooked? Decent road trip. Now they're back home, and they're trailing. St. Louis is doing what we thought St. Louis would do. Hour 3, Darian Durant. Talk some football with doubles. And then Ethan Vibert from the Combine. Dave Thomas had a chance to catch up with him on the weekend. Maz, I don't know about you, but trying to prep the show this morning and going through everything that's happened is tough. It's like hours.
There are so many games in so many leagues. It could be like a giant 22-minute scoreboard of just this, this, and something all that in that you missed for myself and the sheriff, because Alan, I like
Undertaker?
wrestling. Alan, yes, The Undertaker. It's his birthday today. He's 60. I was wondering if anybody else would pick up on that. Sheriff's got to love that kind of news. Maybe he's even sent him a message on Twitter. I don't know how much of a fan he is.
Of everything that I prep locally from around the province, around the country, and everything, Undertaker turning 60 did not make the list. It did not. But I did see that somewhere on social media today, and I was like, oh, the wrestling guys, I think Alan's in. He's him and Maz are going to go out. Maybe you guys do like an after hours Sports Cage. You'd recap the life and times of The Undertaker.
I loved him as when he was the American Badass. The other stuff was a little too creepy, but when he was riding the Harley around the ring, when he was like accessible, just like a normal guy, I like that era of him in like the early 2000s. And he wasn't rolling his eyes back in his head wearing makeup.
If you haven't gone to sportscage.com and checked out any of the articles, the stories, Dave Thomas, great job from the Combine. Alan was there as well, helping out. Go read the story and play it out in your mind if you weren't there on this Yorkton Terriers Melville Millionaires game yesterday.
Oh, I know. Like it was nuts.
Absolute insanity. The Millionaires take the lead with 47 seconds left. And then everything looks cool in the gang. And then Yorkton scores with 4 seconds left.
I know.
And then they win in overtime. They're up 2-0 in the series. What a roller coaster of emotions. How's Benny Walchuk doing today? Has anyone checked on him? Has anyone done a wellness check on Benny? Like, that's the emotions. In, out, up, down. Melville, Yorkton, we're going. No, it's done. Elvis Stoico on Saturday. Like, Benny had a weekend.
Well, and also he's straddling the fence there. He is the ultimate politician over the past 72 hours because he's got to play it right down the middle. Calling that? Like, it's easy if he's doing any other series. But the Yorkton Melville, like, what do you do? Like, how do you get flack on Coffee Row? He kind of cheered a little hard on that Yorkton tying goal, Benny. Kind of went a little too much. And then the other side be like, wow, you could have pumped us up a little more when we needed you.
Yeah. You can never please anybody. You can't please everybody, especially in this business. You learn that your first day. I don't know. I was probably reading funeral announcements in Shaunavon, Saskatchewan, and I got chirped. Somebody called. You said the name wrong.
Well,
said the funeral home name wrong.
That was the old days of when people had to take the time to call in or to fax in, whereas now with social media, you can text in, there's DM messages, there's Twitter, there's Instagram. You can get at somebody quick. But in the old days, yeah, you're right. When someone would call you up and dress you down live and in person, make a guy feel bad some days. But then you had to finish your shift.
Yeah, and then you go and hang out on the weekend at like a bazaar or like a flea market. Are you that new guy? You said Roger's name wrong. He was my... Sorry, I just got here. And then the towns. Like Saskatchewan, I think if you move anywhere, their town names will bite you. Saskatchewan, more so maybe than anywhere. We got some weird... Like, have fun pronouncing Canistano first time you land in this province.
Well, and another one, Bean Fate is another one. That usually will screw some people up. You can usually tell, hey, you're not from here. Yeah, Canistano, that's a funny one.
Oh, there's a long list. 9 Prairie Land Rentals text line. This could be the thing for today. 936-6262, 306-936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals since 1986. Getting it done. Big job, small jobs. 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner. What are some tough Saskatchewan towns to pronounce? And take yourself out of the province if you're just moving here.
Yeah, it would be like if we went to Manitoba. Yeah, Langenberg's a tough one. Let's say we moved to Manitoba and somebody called it the Pass. Well, no, it's the paw. But if you didn't know that, where to put the soft reflection or the soft inflection, you wouldn't know. You'd just sound like a dummy.
I'm trying to think of the ones in the Southwest that it would have got nipped. Like, there's some easy ones. Cadillac, Pontex, East End. Vanguard? No, that's easy. We'll go through. There are some names I know I butchered. But regardless, go ahead.
Well, no, Assiniboia is one. Like, once you get it once, Assiniboia is easy. But for the uninitiated, Assiniboia can be a real point of contention for people to be like, when you'll hear them say crazy names. It's funny, even like when you hear like the deep voice guy that comes on the radio that says like 620 CKRM, they're actors, so everything that they say is written for them. And when you send it to them and they send it back, it's funny if they're not familiar with it. What comes back, and you can have a chuckle to be like, hey, that's pretty funny how they said that. They just tried to pick the word off the page. They didn't get it.
As we talk, I'm scrolling through a map here, and there are a lot of towns that I'm not even going to mention because I'm still in the dark on. So I'm going to leave. When in doubt, leave out. Another thing you learn early in this biz. But back to the SJHL. Tomorrow, we're doing this program from Melville, from the CN Center. So great facility. They're loading up the cables as we speak. Sharky and I are heading into Melville. Boots on the ground.
You got budget approval to take the show out of Century Studios in Regina, head northeast, the home of Future Ford, to Melville, Saskatchewan, where you're going to be setting up, I'm assuming, in the lobby of the rink?
That is a really good question. That's over my pay grade. All I know when you said budget, all I see is two big bags of cans and pop bottles outside of the studio here. I think I'm supposed to take those in and work with that. I think that's what I understand. I can read between the lines. But Future Ford, guaranteed. Speaking of a great place to go and check out new and used vehicles, they sponsor the Senior Hockey Report every week. Guaranteed they have a nice cup of coffee in their little lounge area, for sure.
We owned a Lexus once, but it ended up being too small once we had kids. And a Lexus dealership is nice because they have a barista bar and it's free. Like, you just stop in there. You can get coffee as much as you want, and they'll wash your car whenever you want to and clean the inside. That was a nice perk. But a good coffee in a car dealership, I think that's an underrated perk that people, I think, don't even think about or don't take advantage of enough.
Small town car dealerships, and the reason I can speak on this because we both worked remotes, radio remotes at small town car dealerships. There is always, or you just go and call on your client. It's fun. It's great. Southie Mainline, shout out. You walk in, and there's always it can be the second stop on Coffee Row. Well, I'm just gonna go have a coffee at the dealership, after coffee at the cafe with the fellas or ladies. But you never know. You always have to be on your toes as a salesperson. You never know when that guy's going to see something in his eye and just say, getting a new vehicle today. Shock you.
Yeah, that was Uncle Ken. Ken always had a new Ford truck every couple years, and he just was one day I just decided to drop in to say hi to the gang, because they know everybody knows everybody, and they're like, hey, sure, why not? Sure, why not? It's a couple years old. Let's get the new model and let's get that rolling.
We should call it the Ken. You got to be on your toes. We can go with that. Yeah, there's some towns here we got to go through. Other SJHL, while we're on the subject, and our SJHL reports are always for Southie Mainline Chrysler. Speaking of going in and acting like a Ken, right now they got big discounts on their 2024s, $2,000 off to $16,000 off. The new King of Trucks in southeast Saskatchewan, worth the drive every time, guaranteed. Weyburn and the Battlefords. Okay. I just tweeted this out. They had a send-off for the Red Wings as they head north. That series is tied 1-1. I think we all had that, didn't we?
That was my upset special. That was the one. Everything else seemed like a lock, but to me, that series could be the upset special where Battlefords could come in, and because of Martin Smith, and I think they underperformed all year, that could be the series that surprises everybody out of the first round.
Flin Flon, they're up to
rolling.
Yeah,
rolling.
That's
rolling.
But you know what? Now things shift back to the Elger Peterson in Humboldt. You never know. I think Humboldt wins one there. Although Flin Flon's goalie, so good.
Yeah, Matt Keeper, SJHL goalie of the year.
Keeper's he's tough to beat. And then Melfort's up 2-0 on Kindersley, the number one seeded Melfort Mustangs.
5-1 and 6-1. Kindersley's in tough. They can't score enough goals. They just can't. They just don't have the horses like.
Yeah.
I don't want to say pardon the pun, because then we're going to get into our cliches about bingo cards and me saying, here's the thing, and mentioning my family in Florida. I'm just going to say, I don't think that Kindersley can outscore Melfort.
Can I chime in? Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be fun tomorrow in Melville. I'm really looking forward to it. I know as soon as I tell my kids today, they're going to want to go, though. Now, do I pull them out of school for the afternoon and they come and just hang out in the Melville CN Center and then watch the game? Either of them have never been to an SJHL game. And you know it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. Do I take them?
I would, because if it's just an afternoon, it's not like, it's funny because your wife was a teacher and my wife is a teacher. And there's lots of people that will take their kids out of school outside of vacation time to be like, yeah, we're going away for 3 weeks or we're going away for a month.
Oh, yeah.
During the school year.
I know some
And they
people that are
don't
going to
want homework
Tokyo.
ready.
Like this
Yeah.
month.
In our daughter's class, some people just went to France for 3 weeks just because. I don't know why France in late February, early March, but yeah, they did. And just because that's when that's when they were going. What's an afternoon? What's an afternoon of their education, Barney? Really, what's that worth?
Oh, and the boy always says we're not doing anything anyway. You say that every time. It doesn't work anymore, man. What are you guys doing in school tomorrow? Nothing. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you nothing.
Question.
We all had nothing. We all had when you knew the teacher was hungover. They rolled in that big TV and the VHS, and they grabbed like What's New or whatever they record, Switchback, whatever they recorded from the weekend on CBC. Slim Goodbody. Remember Slim Goodbody?
Is that the guy that wore the suit that was all like muscle and veins and stuff?
Yes.
I didn't know that was his name. That was a little creepy. I don't care at what age. A little weird.
Yeah, but back then you didn't, we had 3 channels.
I know.
But if you guaranteed you'd get canceled. If someone rolls into a school wearing the Slim Goodbody suit, you're going out in handcuffs.
Forget that. How crazy the world is these days. If you rolled in the VCR TV cart too many times, you'd get parents complaining, going, "You're not teaching my kid." We rejoiced when that TV cart came in. It was like winning the Super Bowl to be like, yes, we don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Now.
And the parents should get it because you grew up in the era where you knew exactly what the rub was, why they were doing that, because the teacher wanted a day off. Let it kick back, sleep one off, maybe have a Clamato juice, and while the kids watch TV. Leave it alone.
Yeah, some of these parents, and the other thing too, parents, stop emailing your teacher. Stop emailing the kid's teacher. Let them do their thing. If they need to contact you, but stop. Could you challenge them more? Could you explain let them be students, all right? Don't be that parent. Nobody likes that. It's like the customer at a restaurant. They will remember you for all the right or the wrong reasons. Same thing when it comes to teaching. Don't be that parent that's emailing the teacher every second day. They got enough on their plate these days. They don't need you.
Or the coach. Or coach. Don't be because you get to a certain level of sport and then your kid doesn't make the team and he's clearly probably good enough, or she, but there's a reason. One of the reasons they might not have made that team is because you're high maintenance. FYI.
Yeah.
Mirror. Go to HomeSense. Look in the mirror.
Now, Abby and I have these conversations about if anything comes up, we go over what the response will be, not to taint it for our kids so the teachers don't like them because of how mom and dad are acting. That's a serious conversation in our house that happens all the time in multiple situations. Trust me. And it's a lot of work when this part of the conversation is getting involved. It's more about how I'm going to be acting because I'm the one that has to phone or go see them in person.
Yeah, no, I've sent emails. I got emails in my drafts that I've sent to teachers and principals, and my wife will just kibosh it. She'll be like, "You're not sending that." First off, you need Grammarly. Yeah, secondly, you're not sending that. Okay, so hold on. Let's get back on track. We'll go to that. SJHL we covered. AAA, this sports show we go local first. That's what we do here. AAA midget. Did you see the video of how packed it was to get into the Pat Canadians Moose Jaw game at the Sixer yesterday? It was lined up down the hall. It was something that no one has ever seen. It is such a great thing that people are recognizing how good this hockey is. Yeah, you know what? You do have Maddox Schultz playing in the series, but still, absolutely jam-packed. Pat Canadians win 2-1, overtime goal in the third period. Late goal in the third period. Good catch, Colson. I'm still thinking about Slim Goodbody. So they're up 1-0 in the series. And it shifts. One would think that it shifts to Moose Jaw tomorrow. It doesn't.
What?
It shifts to Assiniboia. Alan will tell you when we break. It shifts to Assiniboia because of the Ford World Curling Championships in Moose Jaw. Assiniboia has adopted another team. Good on Assiniboia.
It's funny, Barney, you mentioned how packed it was at the Reel at the Cooperators. Now, at the same time, there's a funny video on Just Bins. Because Reel, it's well documented, the water leaking from the roof at this time of year. For whatever reasons, there's some engineering issues, structurally maybe.
Yeah.
And apparently, at the Jelly Roll concert last weekend, part of the show, he's got like a rain shower coming down when he's performing. And people were comparing, is this the Reel district or is this the Jelly Roll concert? I can't tell with all the water coming from the roof. And I'm like, come on, the internet's undefeated. It always wins. Always wins.
It was Just Bins, and it was like, Jelly Roll, I want to make it look like it's raining from the roof. Reel, we got you. Oh, it's so good. So tomorrow night, game 2 in that series in Assiniboia of just awesome facility. If I wasn't going to Melville, never been in the Assiniboia rink yet, Southland Co-op Center, 7 o'clock puck drop, Pack Canadians, Moose Jaw Warriors. Prairie Junior Hockey League, before we go to break, Fort Knox swept Regina Capitals.
Wagon.
Swept them.
Wagon.
They're waiting now, licking their chops, per se, for the winner of Delisle or the Saskatoon Wesleys. The Wesleys are up in that series in the north. Then they're going to throw down in the championship series. That'll be a good one. If you're watching the stream, I've got my Saskatoon Blades hat on. Thanks to the Todd of Warwick and the fellas from the Blades. Dropped off some gear when they were in town the other day.
That was tough on Saturday.
Now that there's no Pats, now that there's no Warriors, I don't have a Swift Current Broncos hat. I do have a Prince Albert Raiders hat. I'm all in on any Sasky team making a run.
It's too bad.
It's going to be tough.
Saskatoon, they got down early in that game Saturday, MPA. I mean, if they would have won, they would have ended up in second place in the Eastern Conference. And they tied the game. And then PA scores late, the game winner. And so here's the thing. PA takes on Edmonton in the first round. Now Saskatoon has to take on Calgary, who finished second overall.
Oh, I almost went to the game in PA.
That is going to be, if the Blades win, that's a tall task. Calgary's good. They're a wagon. That's a good hockey team.
No, I just looked at the text line, 936-6262. Jeff and Regina. Worked with a guy who pronounced Punichi and Carobert as Caro-Bear. I've spent a lot of time in Carobert. I could see how that one would get butchered. And he was a truck dispatcher to boot, he says. And then I was going to bring this one up when we talk senior hockey later. Mooseman. Mooseman, not Moose-O-Min, like it's spelled. See, this is like the win-yard thing. I don't want to go down that road. We can maybe do that in hour 3.
I've heard Moose-O-Min, somebody say that innocently enough, and they didn't know. And it was like, oh, okay.
Mooseman, not Mooseman. I don't know. I think I say Mooseman. Am I wrong? Sorry. I appreciate everyone from Mooseman. Greg from Piffle's podcast, originally from Mooseman. So maybe I've been saying it wrong the whole time, and he just wants to slap me, and he hasn't. We got Alan Millar of the Regina Pats coming up. We're going to talk more about Western Hockey League. New team officially coming to the league next year, and then another one probably the year after, all in BC. So, sorry if you thought Winnipeg was getting a team again. No, they're not moving anywhere this way, out east. It's all staying west. It's a Sportscage streaming, sportscage.com, on X, as always, on 620 CKRM.
This is Country Gold with Steve Harmon. Your home for the country hits of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Hello, I'm Steve Harmon, inviting you to join me for Country Gold. Each week we play country favorites from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and we check in with the stars who made them, too. This weekend on Country Gold.
Country Gold, brought to you by Trent Dickin and his experienced team at Flooring Superstore. Saturday mornings at 6 and Sunday afternoons at 4 on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Let's try starting a car after being parked outside all night in the winter in Saskatchewan.
Oh, perfect.
Now, how about starting that same car? Still winter, still Saskatchewan, but parked in a nice warm garage.
It's alive.
We don't have a luxury here in Saskatchewan of just having carport climate. We need a garage, and sometimes we need that garage door fixed. Call Busy Bee Doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Are you ready to win big? YAC Auctions is conducting an online auction for JG Pizzy Incorporated. Featured in the sale is 7 Claws, 780 TT Combines, 7 MacDon headers, 3 air drills, 2 Brent grain carts, and more. The online auction takes place March 24th to 28th online at yacauctions.com. If you want to check out the equipment, come on down to our yard. We're 4 miles east of Yorkton, just off Highway number 10. Or give us a call for more information, 306-782-5999.
CoolBet has all the hot games. For all the free-to-play casino games, head to coolbet.co. They've got sports odds, including Saskatchewan senior hockey, plus all the sports odds you can think of. From the ice to the field to the court, CoolBet has you covered. All at your fingertips. No risk, just thrill. So why wait? Get in the game and embrace the unexpected at coolbet.co.
If it's happening in sports in Saskatchewan, we've got it covered on Sportscage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. On your radio at 620 CKRM and online at sportscage.com.
Kellen Solar is our sponsor, installing solar residential commercial buildings for 35 years. They're local, they're trusted. Visit kellensolar.com. Text line, Maz. Here we go. This was the one that I would have had at the top of my list. Tough to pronounce Saskatchewan town names, especially if you're not from Saskatchewan and you can't cheat. Momart. Oh. Good luck. Good luck.
Because there's a silent E in there at the end. And that's a battle from start to finish.
If you're just starting in the radio business and you got a story about Momart and you have no idea,
Montbart.
You're gonna, yeah. There's a lady once in Swift Current that read sports on the weekends, and I was listening and I was like, I think I was a sports director at that time, whatever phony title that was, and she, rightly so, she's like, Vincent Damphousey scored last night. Vincent Damphouse. And I'm like, it actually looks legit. My sister used to call me when she was in Rosetown or wherever, and she'd be like, how do you say this guy's name? I'm like, oh, Rick Tockett. Oh, she's like, okay. Yeah. That's a tough one. Rick Toche?
I remember, speaking of having a fake BS title, it was just a headache. There was a woman I worked with. She thought it was Venezuela, not Venezuela, Venezuela, and you couldn't convince her otherwise, so she wouldn't listen. And I wasn't the only one that told her. She just kept saying it. And it's not that we had a huge chance with all the stories we were running to say Venezuela, but whenever it did come up, she would say Venezuela, and she was ready to fight to the death that she was right and we were wrong.
Speaking of, who was going through all the text here? Kevin, no, we're not taking a single seat truck tomorrow to Melville. If you have one, though, let me know. Number 7 highway. If you're watching the stream, that's what Roscoe sent yesterday that he thinks that should be the official Sportscage vehicle right there. Just a single.
Do you know how fast Colson and Curtis would email HR? They'd be texting the HR department. I'd have to be a witness on behalf of you in the whatever hearing or tribunal we have. And you know me, I don't really have anything. I'm probably not going to help the case because it was my dumb idea, right?
I've driven stick shift in Mexico and ridden in the back, holding rebar. I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
What? That's a story for another time.
Yeah.
Let's get photos of that.
Wow, that's random.
Yeah.
That's all you're getting.
Rebar in the back of a truck in Mexico. Delisle.
We've all been drunk on vacation, but I don't know. I've never been that far gone to be like, this is a good idea. Barney, go steal that from the construction site. I'll steal the truck. Let's go.
Delisle. That's that was also sent in by, who is this? Travis. Travis is on the right thing here. And then no name. It's also called Swift Current, not Swift Current. What?
What?
What? Whoa. I pay taxes in Swift Current. I can go on this one. It's Swift Current. I don't know how he's trying to. Maybe he's just trying to confuse us.
I think he's doing it's Calgary, not Calgary thing. That's what he's trying to go with. Swift Current.
Yeah, that's another one that I don't really care for. There's people from Calgary telling me how to say Calgary. And they're all from Saskatchewan anyway. Still drinking Calgary beer.
A bunch of imposters.
Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza, local, Canadian. The pizza that you love. All the locations get the pickup special. Joining us, he's cruising the highway right now from the Regina Pats, Al Millar. Al, thanks for taking some time today. I know you guys are busy postseason here.
Hey, all good, gents. Great to connect.
Is there a Saskatchewan town, Al, that's got a weird name that you would have mispronounced when you first ventured your way west?
Well, I'm not sure you can have any weirder name than Moose Jaw.
Shots fired. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Well, and I lived there for 10 years. So, I really mean it as a shot, but it's the first thing that popped into my mind.
Yeah, I know. It's when you travel and especially people in the hockey circle or wherever, they're like Moose Jaw. Yeah, I get it. Seen the movie.
Hey, slap shot, classic.
Exactly. Season wraps up. Obviously no postseason for the Pats this year. We're in a rebuild. We've talked to you before, well documented on what you're doing, building. You got tons of capital, tons of youth. If I was going to ask you, what were the bright spots this year for you, Al? What would you tell the listeners out there?
Well, I think at the end of the day, a few things. One, I think we're in a much better place today in terms of our build and moving forward than we were a year ago, and I think even in a better place than we were December 1. I think that on the ice, as tough as it was and as young as we were, and there was the odd long night. I think there was certain parts of the season there were lots of positives. A couple of 1-0 games against a real good Medicine Hat team, going to overtime in Lethbridge, shorthanded. And then I look at our group, and I think we were a faster team once we got through the deadline. I thought we showed that we had more talent and more skill. Just a lot of nights we were, not, experienced, not strong enough. Our best players were 17, 18. Other teams' best players were 19 and 20. So, I think we got a lot of young guys, valuable experience in terms of their development and where they're going to be a year from now. We got some of our 15 and 16-year-olds into town be around our team and play some games. So I think that was important. And then, where we are with our draft capital, I've, never been in a position where I had this many assets to play with, I guess, in terms of drafting and using them in trade. So I just feel comfortable, and I know our group feels confident that, it's been a tough couple of years. We've talked about the necessity to kind of tear it down and build it the right way. But I think we feel good, and I think there's reason for optimism and excitement for this offseason, what we can accomplish and what the team can look like over the next 2 to 3 years.
Hey, Al, it's Maz here. You mentioned some of the younger players, and when you guys started to trade away the vets, you did it early before anybody else. Who were a couple of people that really probably had a chance to shine once some of the veterans were gone? A couple of names from guys on the roster that you knew all along that we got a chance to see really spread their wings and turn into a player you hope that it's going to continue on down the road.
Yeah, I think I would start with a couple of the 16-year-olds up front, Klassen and Lansard. Even Cameron Kuzma, who I think is going to develop into a pretty solid power forward for us. And that was part of, we went along with the moves that we made and added those young players, but we had to get to a point, before the deadline was over, that we did the roster management part to make sure that the kids were going to play. And, we just had some veteran guys that are good players, and they moved on to have a chance to be on competitive teams like Wilson and Chichkin and Chance and that. But we needed to open up that time for those kids to play and get those opportunities. So, Klassen for me is going to be a real good two-way player. I like his 200-foot game. Lansard, I think, is going to score 35, 40 goals at 18, 19 years old. So I think it was important for them to get their feet under them and where they're going to be over the next couple of years. I really like Dayton Deschamps on the back end. I think he's not going to be a lot of fun to play against. And moving Chichkin out was, part of making sure that Deschamps was in the lineup every night. And then some of the new guys, Pantelakis came in, had a real good year for a young guy. Peranich and Hamilton on the back end. Hamilton, unfortunately, some injuries along the way. But those would be, the key guys. And I think it was real valuable that we were able to get them the playing time and the opportunity and the special teams time and all those things for their development, make sure they're ready to take those steps that we're going to need them to take next year.
Joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline, General Manager of the Regina Pats, Al Millar. Al, how you've been in hockey a long time. You've done a lot of different roles. Team Canada. We've talked about your days out east as west. How much are you learning this year and going through here with now this NCAA thing? And I'm sure there's American kids now that are really strongly looking at the Western Hockey League. How much has it changed for you, a guy that's seen so much?
Well, I think, we've kind of moved forward, in terms of that, there's newer markets that, now these young players and their families want to talk more about playing in the WHL at 16 and 17 years old. Like I think about Minnesota. Minnesota traditionally, high school hockey, USHL, Gophers, all those things. But now there's a lot more interest, and I think we've expanded our network in the U.S. in terms of scouting. We've been aggressive in terms of adding young American players to our 50-man list. We've had a number of conversations with agents and families and Zoom and team calls with families in terms of recruiting players that we've added, players that we've listed. Getting ready for a U.S. prospects draft is much different now than it was a year ago with the change, and the value of those picks has vaulted to another level. Now that, there's the NCAA rule change. So I still think we've got lots to learn. I think, I think in terms of the focus on the younger players in the draft and adding them to come in at 16 and 17, that's just about work. That's about knowing the markets. That's about getting out there and recruiting and drafting and listing players. I think the unknown is what's it going to look like with 19 and 20-year-olds. Players, potentially leaving, how that all plays out. That's a little bit of the unknown. you've seen some things in terms of some 19 and 20-year-olds that are moving on next year to the NCAA. That's something that we'll all need to keep a handle on and work through. But for us, we've just kind of looked at the marketplace and said, hey, we've got new opportunities to add good players. Let's get to work.
Nice.
All right. On social media, when we put out that we're going to have you on the show this afternoon, a lot of people in the comments want to know, and we're just as curious, and we've stated this on this show before, the WHL Bantam Draft, Maddox Schultz and the Regina Pats. Not that you're going to tip your hand to what you're doing, but what's happening on that front?
Well, it's all contingent. It's all contingent on a lottery ball, right? That's where it's at. They've moved the draft lottery to April 10th. It was going to be this Wednesday, but with the expansion announcement today, they pushed it to April 10th. We'll go into the lottery with the second most balls. We can move up to 1. We could move back to 4. That's where it's at. So the top end of the draft is very good. Maddox Schultz is, an elite player. Let's see how the lottery goes, and if we win the lottery, I think it's going to be a real exciting time for the hockey club.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the last time we talked to you, you're fresh off a trip from Vegas, so I don't know how your luck has been lately. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting. And one of the questions I had was April 10th. That's what I heard, that they're removing it, so that makes sense. I want to ask you about Penticton coming in, which is official as of today. Exciting. The league's growing. It sounds like we're going to be at 2014 with Chilliwack in a couple of years. How is the expansion draft going to work, Al? I think there's probably no one better to ask than you, because I'm very curious on that.
Yeah, as part of expansion, there's a set of expansion regulations, and Penticton is getting to work here in terms of being able to list players that are with essentially free agents. They'll go through a process, to get to know the team's 50-man lists. The teams have different options in terms of their age groups and how many players they can protect. We'll submit a protected list. I believe it'll be the week of the draft that we'll submit a protected list of players, and then Penticton has the ability to select one player from each WHL team. So they will add 22 players via the expansion draft. So we've done some mock expansion drafts as a staff. We probably still have some decisions to make on the last 2 or 3 players that we will protect. Ultimately, not sure what direction Penticton's going to look at. Are they going to look at our college list? Are they going to look at younger players? Are they going to look at, adding a veteran player? Look at older players? There is the ability to talk to Penticton in advance to do a deal, cut a deal to protect a player that you don't want to lose and give them something else. So that's a process we'll be in the middle of, and we'll get prepared for early in May.
Have you already done all of your exit meetings with the coaching staff for this year?
What we did is we got through the game Saturday night. I met with the team 9 a.m. yesterday morning. Then we did exit meetings with our players. Got those all done yesterday. What I told the coaches was, hey guys, it's been a long year. We've got 5 months essentially until training camp starts. There's a lot of things on our plate here in terms of getting ready for the draft, and like we talked about, we've been doing some recruiting, looking to sign some players, all those things. I just told Brad and his crew there, hey, I said, step away from the game for a week or 2 here, enjoy some time with friends and family. We don't have to get into a full debrief and and talk about everything right now. We'll do that at an appropriate time. I think this is an important time for the coaches to step away and exhale. And you know, it's not been an easy year on the coaches, a young team, and the ups and downs. So that's the plan there. We got through exit meetings. I thought it was great dialogue, productive day yesterday, good feedback from the players, you know, some honest evaluations on what they need to work on. And I think we'll all be better for it when we hit the ice, you know, late next August.
Right on. As always, Al, I appreciate it. Every time I get to talk to you, I learn at least 2 things. So travel safe, and then probably regroup here after April 10th or close to the draft.
Yeah, I think around the draft lottery, and then lots to talk about then, and probably early in May too, as we're ramping up, and 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. So thanks, gents, and I look forward to connecting again.
Right on. Travel safe. That is.
Thank you. Take care.
General Manager of the Regina Pats, Al Millar. All you got to do is look at his resume. That guy has done a lot in the game of hockey. The boys are telling us we got a break, Maz. Then we'll come back. It is the Sports Cage on the home of the Regina Pats, 620 CKRM.
Something all drivers have in common? Your vehicle should have a winter inspection. Landry's Napa Auto Pro specializes in full-service inspections. With certified mechanics on site, they handle everything from minor repairs to major overhauls. When you take your vehicle to Landry's service, your car is in the right hands. And quality Napa batteries always have the best prices. Landry's Napa Auto Pro, located on North Winnipeg Street, serving Regina for over 50 years.
Fostering is all about families helping families. It can be a challenging and rewarding way to make a meaningful contribution to a child's life. At the Saskatchewan Foster Families Association, we help create healthy homes and brighter futures for children and youth in care through member education, training, and advocacy. Can you imagine yourself becoming a foster parent? Visit saskfosterfamilies.ca to learn more.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. Powered by Prairie Land Rentals. They've got everything you need for your projects. 600 Albert Street. PrairieLandRental.com. Back to Sports Cage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back. Always nice to catch up with Al Millar. I learned something. At least one, probably 2 things every time you talk to him.
Probably my question, like a lot of people, even if they don't win the lottery ball thing to get the number 1 pick overall, would they be willing to trade? Let's say it is with Edmonton, if they win, to trade to get that number 1 pick.
Yes.
You think it's a done deal? Okay.
What do you need?
That's the answer we want. Is that listen? It doesn't matter where the balls fall. We'll give you 8 second and third round picks for the years going forward.
No. Edmonton's gonna hold them somewhat hostage, but you have to.
Yeah,
I think you have to.
I know you have to for survival of the club.
They have capital. They have some good young players.
Yeah,
you know, and you know what? He's a fairly smart guy. Very curious though if Kelowna gets it. Because Kelowna needs the best 19-year-olds going into the Memorial Cup year, 18-year-olds. And there's a really good one from the Okanagan that plays 30 minutes from here. Where I'm at the corner of 12th and Rose, right by Bart's on Broad. So down the road.
Weird is it? How weird is it that both Kelowna and Kamloops, I'm trying to remember the last time both of them missed the playoffs in the same year. It's probably decades that both of them are so bad. And I mean, Kelowna, obviously, they just gave up early and got rid of anything they could because they knew that they're going to be hosting them, but they'll rebuild. But yeah, Kelowna and Kamloops not in the playoffs at the same time.
John Keane's going to come on later this week. And then I think I asked him Friday, you going to come on Friday? He goes, yeah. Probably going to golf in the morning, so I should be good in the afternoon. I'm like, you know what? Okay, back to Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. A couple of new entries. How about Ben Goff? Yeah.
Yeah, not easy.
It's a tough
not
one.
Easy.
If you just landed here from another, province and you're going through names in Saskatchewan, Bullier also. Bulyea. Bullier. Not easy. Keep them coming. Also, I like when everyone sends us in shout-outs, local front. U18B Mustangs, league finals. Undefeated Prairie Storm they were up against. They won the series in 3 games. It was tied 3-3, 4 minutes left regulation. Mustangs killed off a 4-minute head contact penalty. That's such a subjective call most of the time. In overtime, they killed off another 2-minute penalty. Overtime, Turner Fry ripped it home, 4-3 overtime winner. Shout out Alex Thomas, goal and an assist. Tyson T-Bone Weatherald, probably screwed that name up. Hopefully he's not from Bengoff. He had a goal. Thanks for the text. Al sent that in. If we give a shout out to any teams, 936-6262. I'm gonna give. Wait till I tell you in hour 2 how my daughter's provincial game went down. There was a call. I've been around hockey, what am I, 47? So let's say comprehending the game, I don't know, 30-ish years. A call I've never seen in a hockey game, really at any level. And it took away a pivotal goal for Saskatoon. So I'm kind of like, we get to play game 3. You. It did, but I still felt dirty. I was like, this. I don't feel right. This is bad chicken. I'll tell you in hour 2.
So you decided not to freak out on the 15-year-old referee that made the call?
They weren't 15. I don't freak out on kids when they're reffing. I think that's stupid. There's an adult though. You can let your voice. Yeah. How many times do people go to an NHL game and yell at Dan Marawelli or Brad Watson? Shout out Sasky boy. Brad Meyer, another beauty Sasky ref. They go. Those guys would hear it.
I know. But they're grown men. And
most people reffing provincial games at certain levels are as well. But it was a call I've never seen. I want a city Pee Wee championship. They're really the only thing I ever won in hockey, besides like some beer league tournaments. Archibald Arena, Saskatoon, Pee Wee. We called an illegal stick in Game 3 on their best player. The coaches had been sitting on it all year. Oh, smart.
The fact that somebody would have had the measuring stick, that's to even measure the illegal stick.
Yep.
Back then.
Yep. Not much going on tonight as far as hockey. We've recapped everything already in hour 1. We will recap everything and tee up more in hour 2. The AAA game tomorrow night, I think somebody texted in, it is in Assiniboia. Pat Canadians, Moose Jaw, Pat C's up 1-0 there. That Assiniboia rink should be packed. They're adopting another team. The town of Assiniboia, just welcoming.
Besides the Auto Lotto, they're adopting another hockey team just when they need it most.
Eric Francis, NHL Insider, starts hour 2. It is the Sports Cage, streaming sportscage.com on X and always on 620 CKRM.
Bidding is now open for the timed online land auction for the Darrow family south of Caryville, Saskatchewan. Register to bid at macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, 2 quarter sections of farmland in the RM of Argyle. Got land to sell? Call the Saskatchewan Land Auctioneers today. Saskatchewan owned and Canadian made. Bidding closes on the Darrow land this Friday, March 28th at 10 a.m.
That's the timed online land auction for the Darrow family. Bidding closes March 28th at 10 a.m.
Come join an unforgettable evening at the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction on Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Center. This year's special guest will be Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Millar. Pre-dinner drinks will start at 6 p.m. and dinners at 7. And don't forget the live and silent auction. Tickets are available at reginaredsox.com. Get your tickets now for the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction Saturday, April 26th. And support Regina Red Sox baseball. Presented by Dusick & Barlow Insurance at SGI Canada. Play ball!
Well, howdy, y'all. Wood Country Woody here. You ever been kissed by your mother-in-law? Brr, nothing chillier than that, except your house when the wind's out of the northwest. Fret not, my friend. It's John's Manville Insulation to the rescue from Wood Country. Insulation so good, even your mom-in-law will thaw a little. Get toasty. Save money. John's Manville Insulation from Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale. Wood-country.com.
We are 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station. Streaming online at 620CKRM.com.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. It's mostly cloudy and it's +4 in Regina. I'm Corey Atkinson from the sasktoday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News. A union representative speaking on behalf of Saskatoon library workers says members at 2 locations have been dealing with an influx of drugs and violence while trying to do their jobs. Kara Stelmaschuk with the Canadian Union of Public Employees 2669 says issues have caused both the Francis Morrison Central Library and the Dr. Frida Aheniku Library to close for 3 weeks. She says there's been an increase in drug overdoses at the libraries over the past month, requiring staff to intervene and save people's lives.
That's not a situation where anyone should be, and especially if we're talking a casual employee of the Saskatoon Public Library. It's an upsetting thing to think about because they are being shouted at, they're being threatened, they're being intimidated, they're being shoved, assaulted, and they're being spat on as well.
Saskatoon Public Library says it can't serve as a refuge for people who require addiction support and medical emergencies. Saskatchewan is adjusting its alcohol ban to only target U.S.-produced products, allowing Canadian-made American-branded alcohol to be sold again. The province originally banned all U.S.-branded alcohol in response to American tariffs. However, after hearing concerns from the industry, Saskatchewan will now allow the sale of 54 Canadian-produced American brands. The government says the new approach makes its policy consistent with other provinces while still responding to the tariffs. Saskatchewan's 25-26 budget introduces the fertility treatment tax credit to help families with the cost of fertility treatments. The new credit provides a 50% refundable tax credit on eligible fertility procedures in Saskatchewan, covering up to $20,000. The government says the credit aims to make fertility care more affordable for families. The budget also includes the Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Tax Credit, designed to encourage business investment and expansion. The changes are part of amendments to the Income Tax Act 2000 to promote affordability and growth. Manitoba's opposition Progressive Conservatives are calling for an investigation after Premier Wab Kinew failed to disclose that he accepted and paid for private travel with Winnipeg's professional football team to go to 2 Grey Cup games. The Tory caucus has asked the Ethics Commissioner to investigate the trips, saying accepting flights through a private charter goes against the province's Conflict of Interest Act. The law says House members must receive approval from the Commissioner before accepting travel on non-commercial chartered or private aircraft, or disclose publicly soon after, and that alternative travel must be considered. Interim Tory leader Wayne Iwasco says asking for an investigation is about accountability and transparency.
I want to be clear that it's not about attending the Grey Cup. That's not the issue. It's about following the law and about disclosing the thousands of dollars that he may or may not have paid for that chartered air service.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers say the Premier paid for the trips personally and was invited to represent the city and province at one of Canada's largest sporting events. That's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620CKRM.com. Your weather is next.
Spring means sunshine, longer, warmer days, and the chance to get together with friends and family for a great home-cooked meal. You'll get the best ingredients for the lowest prices at Crawford's No Frills. From meat and veggies to drinks and dessert, Crawford's No Frills is your favorite place to go. Text your family, your friends, and tell them to come on over tonight because you're cooking a great meal courtesy of Crawford's No Frills. Say yes to Crawford's No Frills in Rosemont, Regina. They won't be beat.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
And now your 620 CKRM precision weather forecast for Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Tonight, decreasing cloudiness and a low of -4. Tomorrow, partly sunny and a high of +3. And on Wednesday, partly sunny and a high of +2. At this hour in Moose Jaw, it's mostly cloudy. Winds are from the east at 8 and it's 6 degrees. Regina is mostly cloudy also. Winds are from the southeast at 6 and it's 4. For more local news that matters to you, subscribe to our daily newsletter at sasktoday.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Dinner served.
What's this?
Pizza.
Looks like cardboard.
It is. Cut into a circle.
What?
Hope you're hungry.
You wouldn't order cardboard for dinner, and that's not what you get when you order from Western Pizza.
Think I'll order Western Pizza.
They've got their pizza down to perfection. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or takeout. Order today.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for 35 years. Local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit kellensolar.com. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Just me. Welcome back. Sports Cage on Mondays. For Kellen Solar, a lot to get to. Busy weekend. Talked to Al Millar in hour one from the Regina Pats, general manager, debriefing the season there, asking him about expansion. Penticton, what's going to go on. Good interview. Chris Mazurek is with me today. Coulson and the Sheriff Allen sitting on the other side of the room. Let's this one might go long today. So let's get going. Let's get to our NHL Insider.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Southie Mainline Chrysler, the newest king of trucks. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
All right. Eric Francis is with it. I thought it was it should be pluggings. Somebody, there's a big K on your mug.
It's my daughter's initial. Why are we going long today? What is so? I don't mind. You know, I love chatting with you boys. I'm just curious, like what's going on? It seems like it's slow. The only exciting news to me, I mean, the expansion stuff's great, I guess. But Tiger Woods' new girlfriend. That is a big story. We got to dig our teeth into that. The people need to know about that one.
What a flex by Tiger. Yeah. And then he's asking for privacy now. Good luck, champ. Good luck, champ.
Yeah, you make a post on Instagram about your new girlfriend, and then you ask for privacy. You could have just left it where it is. For anybody that doesn't know, it's Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife that Tiger Woods is now dating.
She's had 5 kids. She is a bombshell. Like, I saw the photo. I wasn't familiar. Like, there's so many of them that I didn't even know this family, this Trump family. I had to read the story. Had you guys heard any of this?
No.
Because you know, he claims that he needed to bring it out and get public with it because, you know, all the tabloids were sniffing around. First of all, I didn't even know there were tabloids left. Second of all, whoever's gossiping about this is not doing a very good job because I'd never heard a whisper. And third, dude, don't tell everyone this is what I'm doing and don't look. We're all looking now.
I just, yeah. I don't know. I don't never really got why famous people get with famous people.
Well, hey, first of all, this is love, and you don't know. Love is, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, love is a mysterious thing. We can't quite put our finger on why and who and when, but their kids go to school together. So, look, we all know.
Is that a true story?
The drop off.
Is that they go to like they would have met at like a school pickup event or maybe at a softball
at a private school or something like that.
Yeah. So that's where the obvious connection is. Now, my interaction with most moms, ladies at the drop-off area is road rage. And nothing good's ever come out of a meeting I've ever had with another lady dropping off her kids at school. But Tiger's obviously had a much different experience than I've ever had.
White Escalade or white Yukon mom drop. You can close your eyes and go to a sketch artist and draw out exactly what that mom looks like. Exactly. That we're driving the big $200,000 SUV. There is I keep this more of a podcast episode. I don't want to get canceled.
Well, no, but it's so funny dropping the kids off at school because I drive them. Our car is kind of cheery and I keep it light, but when you're passing people going no kilometers an hour and you just see like the angry mom just giving it to the kids and it's car after car after car like that, to be like, wouldn't want to be in the back seat of that thing. Mom's not happy.
Maybe they met on, they're part of the, the community association. And then they were on a fundraising committee. And then they just started hanging out. They started hanging out. It happens with hockey teams, minor hockey teams. It's like, oh, did you hear? The manager and so it's like, well, I guess they're just hanging out a lot. They had a connection.
They did a wine raffle together, I bet. And those bring people together like nobody's business.
Back in our day, it was the chocolate sales.
Chocolate sales. Oh my God.
Covered almonds.
Well, back in my day, way back, we used to sell Christmas cakes. Like, who eats that crap? Those fruit cakes, those crappy, each one is about as heavy as a brick. Door to door. That's fundraising has come a long way. I got to tell you, like, kids, and even before you get kids, when your friends get kids, it opens your eyes up to the whole world of fundraising. And I got to tell you, a lot of the time now it's seamless. Like, grocery cards, that's the greatest one of all time. I don't care what anybody says. That's the easiest one. I run that for my kids' hockey team. I buy that one from everybody I can. That one's easy. I got to buy groceries, right?
There's the new one in the 306 here. Maybe it's more southern Saskatchewan. Is this Hutterite bacon, and it is unbelievable bacon, and it sells. Every team's doing it. Everyone is wise to it now. Everybody, you know what? The price of, you guys seen the price of eggs? An egg fundraiser. That's something that could catch steam. So not to get super sidetracked, because before we get to the NHL, we talked. I got a question, a couple of things that Maz and I talked to earlier in hour one, and I'm like, we got to ask Eric about this. Do you remember Slim Goodbody? You might be a little old. Remember that TV show as a kid, Slim Goodbody, and they wore that weird suit?
Yeah, familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you were in school and your teacher rolled in the TV and the VCR or beta or whatever it was, and you got to sit and just watch videos, what 90% chance that the teacher was hungover that day?
I never thought of that, but makes good sense to me. Like, if I was a teacher, I'd have audiovisual department all over my classroom, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and tomato juice or clamato, some sort of salty drink. I'm like, leave the teacher alone. Then the other thing, I sent you two names, text messaged you. How would you say those places? And if you don't know, we're asking people that aren't from Saskatchewan how they pronounce certain town names, and those are two of the toughest ones.
Okay, I got to go back to the text. Is it Montmar?
Yeah. Montmar.
And Delisle.
Delisle. Okay, good job.
I would say, since Eric's from Ontario, and with that Ontario-Quebec kind of overlap and stuff like that, there's a bunch of those town names in and around, when you get close to Ottawa region and stuff like that. So I was like, that maybe wouldn't have been the toughest.
There's a Delisle outside of Ottawa?
Is that why it's going to take long today? We're going to go through a whole bunch of city names on the map?
No, but I was just talking at news here to a coworker, and then Maz hasn't heard the story. So get this hockey story, Eric. Game 2, Pee Wee AA Female Provincial Championship in Saskatoon on Saturday. My daughter's team's down 1-0. Game 2, this ref in Saskatoon clearly hates the Saskatoon team. Like, it is like, what are we watching here? So then our team's up 1-0. Our team scores in the third to go up 2-0. All of a sudden, the refs converge. Then they wave it off. Supposedly, the puck went in late or there was called. We're like, okay, whatever. We get hosed. We're in Saskatoon. That's fine. They come down, 6 minutes left, score a legit goal. It was a fluky bounce, but it was a legit goal. Game's tied 1-1. All right, girls, we got to go. Barn is packed. All of a sudden, the refs converge. We're like, there's nothing. There's no instant replay. Like, there was a legit goal. What? They wave off the goal for them. This is a provincial final. We're like, what? We asked the coach at the end of the game. They're like, yeah, her chin strap was undone.
No.
Nice. Never
Are
heard
you
of that
kidding
one.
me?
I've never heard of it.
You must be kidding me.
I think the coaches were sitting. The one coach must be brilliant because I think he was sitting on it. And I told Maz, I won a Pee Wee City Championship because of an illegal stick call, kind of. But how is that chin strap?
So your team called it on them, and the refs had to kind of honor it?
Yep.
I don't know who I hate more, your coach or the ref. That's ridiculous.
There's one
Maz,
for you.
help me on this. Come on, help. Yeah, he's all smiles because his team benefited from it. But what if your team got hosed by it? You'd be furious right now.
Don't get me wrong. I still feel dirty. I felt dirty that 2-hour drive home. I felt dirty.
Dude,
leaving the west side.
That's awful. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's a bit of a greasy one. But
Hey,
like I said,
rules are rules. Without rules, there's chaos. Like Kramer said, without rules, there's chaos.
Rubbing is racing, and if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So,
oh my God.
Okay, I wanted to get that out, and the look on Eric's face was worth it.
That sucks.
Hey, speaking of sucks, that start of that road trip for the Flames sucked, and then turns out I watched that game on the island. What time did that start? 9 o'clock Alberta time, and they pull it out. Like talk about being gritty and how that road trip ended.
It's you got to give them credit, man. That's the first time ever the franchise has swept through New York.
Wow,
that's pretty incredible time to do it too. I mean, look, I'm still not convinced that they could pull this thing off and get into the playoffs, given the schedule St. Louis has and given that they're 4 points up. Flames have 3 games in hand, though. Blues are the hottest team in hockey right now. That's the problem with all this. The Calgary Flames are doing a pretty good job keeping their head above water and doing it in dramatic fashion in some tough buildings and under some pretty tough circumstances. Like in that game Saturday that you're talking about, you know, the Islanders go ahead with almost just under 3 minutes left, and boy, you're thinking, oh, what a gut punch. Like, that is critical. And then they tie it 29 seconds later and win in overtime. Like, they didn't have Uyghur in the lineup, their best overall player. They didn't have Backlund in the lineup. They didn't have Farabee in the lineup. It was, and all the chips were down. And, like, you know, one thing is, it's quite amazing. And you got to give credit to the veterans on the Flames team. Like, they're not overcome by the moment, right? Like, there's a lot of pressure. This is jitters time. And if it truly was a young team, like some people think they are, then they'd probably succumb to that. But not only, you know, are the young guys being dragged along by the veterans, but even like when Wolf starts, he's completely undaunted by the spotlight. You know, he just went through some pretty big cities. Lots of guys want to ask him about the Calder. A lot of attention on him. The playoff race is right there. He's in the middle of all of it. He's the reason they're there. And he's not faltering at all. It's pretty incredible.
Eric, one of the things, because social media is the best, a lot of memes floating around today. Jonathan Huberdeau, 27 goals. Connor McDavid, 26 goals. And that's funny. And the other thing, too, is Dustin Wolf, it's an incredible story, and everyone seems to have written off Dan Vladar. But on this road trip, I think a lot of us can appreciate Dan Vladar is a pretty good number 2, 1B, whatever you want to call him. He's played some solid hockey when they've asked him to play. Is he, like, behind the scenes, is he just like, I'm a team guy, I'll do whatever I need to? Because he's coming in, he's doing his job when he does get his starts.
Like, the Flames have a hotshot goalie in the AHL, Logan Cooley, and or not Logan, Devin Cooley, and for the first half of the season, he had like a 1.7 goals against average. Like, he was putting up Dustin Wolf type numbers in the American Hockey League. The Flames had signed him last year and really thought this kid could be a stud, and I think they still think that. He slowed down in the second half. My point of all that is that everyone in this city has kind of been thinking, well, next year, Vladar he'll move on. They won't re-sign him, and they'll bring up Cooley, and they'll have these 2 young studs, and they'll be set for the next 10 years for goaltending. I wrote a column a couple months ago saying I think they should, and I think they will sign Dan Vladar to an extension. He has taken on all of the toughest assignments this season. When there's a tough back-to-back, they've had 9 back-to-backs this year, guys. Dan Vladar has played the second half of them 8 times. Like, that is a no-win situation. So you look at his record, I think he still has a losing record, but it's because he's put in these impossible situations. He's giving nights off to the real star, Dustin Wolf. It's a beautiful tandem. It works so well together, and I think they'd make a mistake if they don't keep it together next year. So to your point, I've long seen the value in Dan Vladar. I've long thought that he's undervalued, underrated, and he probably gets the short end of the stick from Flames fans here in the city. But lately, even Flames fans are coming around going, wow, without some of his great starts of late, this team's out of the playoff race. That's how crucial every start is. So, yeah, Dan Vladar is the real deal, and I think he's a tremendous backup on any team in the NHL.
Should Edmonton Oilers fans, like, is it now they should be worried? Like, they're not showing their cards, but it sounds like McDavid and Draisaitl
out for
could be out all week. Los Angeles is over top of them, and what I think it is time to panic.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, take the injuries out of it, and then I would say no, it's not time to panic. Like, as long as they start kind of ramping up with the last 5, 6, 7 games, but the wording from the coach today was they won't be around anytime soon. They're saying week to week, but that other language, anytime soon, is kind of scary. It's a break for the Flames because we're visiting Edmonton on Saturday, my favorite road trip. Anyway,
New York,
yeah,
Edmonton,
yeah.
Just
got back from Florida, New York, and now I got to mix in at northern Alberta.
Listen, I heard Connor McDavid's wife's opening a new restaurant in Edmonton. Eric, you could go there. Maybe write a little column, a little review once all is said and done. A little 1-star to 5-star.
Yeah.
Is it in the mall?
Sounds good.
It's like a food court thing?
Is it in the mall? Yeah. Chick-fil-A? Is that what she's opening? Because the kids love that. They love that one. Anyway, yeah, those guys being out for a while is scary. And the goaltending hasn't been the way it should be, or the way they need it to be for the playoffs. There's a lot of reasons why I get why Oilers fans are nervous. But, with the group they have, and assuming those guys are healthy enough to get into the playoffs at 100%, then I don't worry. But you just wonder if their injuries are going to be longer than even any of us think. So that's the scary part to me.
I just don't like, and this is...
Remember this conversation.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like there's so much put on those 2 guys. And that first round could be such a grind again. And, like,
yeah.
I'm starting, I don't know, is Kane coming back? Like,
no.
They don't, do they, unless it's just me, I haven't watched a ton of game and I'm not Oiler hardo. It seems like their depth is really showing, or lack of depth.
Well, maybe it's just me living here in the proper side of Alberta. you can't ever believe that it's not going to, the ship won't get righted. Like, they always figure it out. When you got all those number one draft picks over the years, they always seem to figure it out. Well, the last 3-4 years anyway. I would be surprised if they weren't in the conference final. I really would. And again, hey, we don't know how they could drop like a rock right now over the next couple of weeks and have a first round matchup that's really not good for them at all. And that could be the end, but I just don't see it happening. That's too good to be true in my eyes.
Well, it seems like lately, when McDavid's been out, Draisaitl has picked it up. And to me, it's the debate, who's more valuable to the Oilers, Draisaitl or McDavid? And to me, I say it's Draisaitl because they've found a way with Draisaitl in the lineup to play well and to win but now that you're without both of them, obviously, you take away any team's top two superstars, it completely changes. Like, hey, Zach Hyman, I hope that you can carry the mail on your own because it's up to you. And beyond that, Corey Perry, is he going to be playing 30 minutes a night now? Up from his 12 to 13 that he's playing? Like, I don't know.
They've got more depth than I think people give them credit for. Like, Nugent Hopkins has been really good of late. You know, Evan Bouchard hasn't had the greatest season, but he's still an absolute stud and runs, one of the best power plays in the world ever. I really like some. I just think that it's such a mistake to sell these guys short. Yes, those two guys are crucially important. You're right. Any team in the league loses their top two players, things change in a hurry. But they'll be back. I'm pretty sure they'll be back, and damn it, they'll be good.
I think Vancouver's cooked. What do you guys think?
It feels like it to me, and not just because they haven't played great of late. And there's so much going on in that organization, in that dressing room. It's a mess, right? We all know that. It feels like they'll be put out of their misery pretty soon here. And it's mostly because St. Louis has opened up such a gap that I'm just not sure Vancouver could possibly catch them. And to catch them, they still have to jump over the Flames. And the Flames have a game in hand on them, too. So, yeah, it's starting to get pretty iffy for them. And they have a pretty favorable schedule for the next three. I think they're visiting all the teams we just visited out east. But I don't see them making that jump.
Yeah, tonight's the Frustrated Hockey Fan Cup, the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Jersey Devils. And after watching the Jersey collapse against the Flames, like, Jacob Markstrom can be so good at times. But in that game, it was the bad Jacob Markstrom, the one that every once in a while, when he would start chasing stuff, and it's kind of like, ooh, I don't know. If they play like that, they're going to make the playoffs. They won't make it out the first round if he is as inconsistent as he was the other night against the Flames.
Well, Jersey's been sinking like a rock. Without Dougie Hamilton and Hughes, that's pretty tough sledding for any team. Again, those are two of their top three players, I would say. That's a pretty significant, maybe top four. It's just killer. And they've been sinking like a rock for the last couple months. Markstrom's back. But for Flames fans, it had to have been somewhat pleasurable to watch that game the other night when the Flames come back, beat Jersey, and then get an empty netter, and Markstrom has to sheepishly go back into the net on a game that he completely helped blow. The players afterward, I thought Huberdeau was great. He goes, "We love Marky, but boy, we love scoring on him." And I thought that was a really nice little classy but noticeable way to kind of remind everyone that he wanted out. He's the one who wanted out, and they granted him the win. Think about that trade, guys. Jacob Markstrom goes to the Devils. In exchange, the Flames get a first-round draft pick this year. They get Kevin Ball, who's playing on their top pair. He's only 24 years old. And they also open up the door for Wolf to play as many games as he played this year. Pretty good move, if you ask me.
Yeah. You were out there watching the Rangers, watching the Islanders. Montreal's hanging on. You got to know some Montreal fans that are just absolutely psychotic. In the East, and I'm not a fan of either team, but Ottawa, Montreal making it in, wouldn't that be okay?
Well, it'd be good for my network. I know that. They'd be pretty happy. So I think, let me, hold on. Where's my contract? I think I have to say, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I think it'd be great.
It's in that desk somewhere.
It's in the
Yeah. Yeah. No,
talking points.
I'm a fan of Ottawa. I like the way they've built and everything. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Montreal. It's too soon for them to make the playoffs. I mean, I guess every young team rebuilding can really benefit from the experience of at least going one round. But it just seems like they're still in over their head or something like that to me.
What was your sense of what was your sense of the Rangers watching them and being there?
Well, you think the Vancouver is a mess right now. It's all of that, but without the drama leaving the dressing room. Like there's stuff going on in there that's got to be significant because it's a mess. Nobody can put their finger on why that team is anywhere but near the top of the league. Like all year long, it's been like that. If you're a jury, you're going, what could possibly be wrong? And then he goes and adds Millar and, a sublime talent and leader like that. And so the other day against Vancouver, they got one shot on goal in the first period. They were booed off the ice. The Rangers fans booed them off the ice. Second period, I think they had 3 shots and booed off the ice again. And then they come back and score 4 in the third period and win the game. Can someone figure this team out? Can they figure themselves out? Again, nobody's scared of the Rangers. I'll give you one team that's 4 and done if they make the playoffs. That's the Rangers.
So Saturday, watching the Habs take on the Colorado Avalanche. And keep in mind, if you think Montreal's over their skis and they're just punching above their weight at the moment, they were playing some pretty up-tempo hockey, keeping up with Colorado. And I'm like, this is good. And then you watch it go into overtime and then into the shootout. Montreal maybe is a team that nobody wants to play. That Colorado team, now that the trades, they've got it together, would they be one of the more dangerous teams in your mind in the West?
Oh, my God, yeah. I think down the middle, they went from being, of all the contenders, I thought that they were probably had the thinnest lineup until the trade deadline. And now I think they're right there with anybody else. By adding 2 high-impact centers, they go 4 deep down the middle, which is the most important position, in my opinion, in the playoffs, goaltending aside. And I just think that what they did there is I think it's scary, the depth they have there now. And I didn't say that 2 months ago. So, no, Colorado is one of the scariest teams in the West for sure. They have to be ranked, 2 or 3 in the West? I don't know. It depends how you look at it. Winnipeg's the class of the West right now, but is Dallas second or is Colorado second? I'm not sure. Vegas is tough to deny. Outside of that, I'm not sure many teams scare me, but there's kind of a 3 or 4 horse race there in the West. If you ask me.
I just still for some reason feel like Los Angeles is that sneaky team this year. I don't know. Okay. Before we let you go, check your phone again. I just sent you 2 other ones that people have been texting in on 936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals text line. Okay. The 2 town names. Can you pronounce those?
Is that Ben Go?
Ben Goff. Yeah.
Ben Goff.
Ben Goff.
And Forget.
Yeah. Forget's a tough one. Good job. Eric Francis.
Tell you what, you know what? All your life they tell you, trust me, taking French in school will pay off. Trust me, and nobody believed them. And now, right here, at advanced age on Saskatchewan radio, it paid off.
Like Slim Goodbody. All the stuff we learned back in the day was good. All right, you guys have fun on Wednesday. Thanks. There it is. Oh, if you're watching the stream.
That's disturbing.
That is so disturbing.
No,
did somebody check that guy's floorboards?
The perm is more disturbing than the costume. Okay,
that looks like Richard Simmons' brother.
It does.
Oh my God.
Have I ever told you the story? I was at a radio convention once. This was really bizarre. It was in Dallas, Texas, in the early 2000s. And the 2 guest speakers on one day within an hour of each other, number one was a young punk who had just sold broadcast.com named Mark Cuban. And then the guy following up after him was Richard Simmons.
Oh, my.
He led everybody through like a 40-minute in a giant hotel ballroom, like jazzercise session. It was the most bizarro thing. Rest in peace, Richard Simmons.
Did you know?
All right.
Yeah. Did you? He does look like Richard Simmons' brother that just couldn't quite make it down south. They brought him up to CBC. Yeah. Did you know Mark Cuban's grandpa invented the Cuban lunch? That little treat?
That is not true.
It is not. All right, Eric.
Erroneous.
Have fun with Maz on Wednesday. Talk to you next
Au
Monday.
revoir.
Do
See
your
you
chin
later,
strap
mes
up.
amis.
Do your chin strap up.
Yes. Slime ball.
Strap up.
There's a story
Love
for you.
boy.
NHL insider Eric Francis for Southie Mainline Chrysler. The new king of trucks in Southie Saskatchewan right now. 2024 inventory, price to move. Unbeatable discounts. $2,000 off to $16,000 off. Worth the drive every time. Guaranteed. Let's go to break. Come back. Clutch performer. Mine is. It should be the coaches of my daughter's team, but I am going female hockey for mine. I'm going female hockey for mine.
Okay, and then finish the story, because if we're tied one game apiece, we've got to know like how the rest of this plays out.
Saturday, it shakes down Saturday here.
Okay,
at the Ritchie. Hopefully they got the popcorn going. It'll be awesome. I guarantee their chin straps will be done up. It's a Sportscage streaming, sportscage.com, X, and on 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. One full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
On the farm, dirt doesn't just get under your fingernails. It runs through your veins. Your equipment is just as tough. You bought it for its rugged dependability and efficient operation. To keep your machinery running as good as the day you bought it, you want genuine AGCO parts, fluids, and filters from Nick Service. Their friendly parts staff has what your equipment needs to keep it running at the top of its game. Keep it genuine at Nick Service, your local genuine AGCO parts headquarters.
Busy Bee Doors is owned and operated by a trade expert with more than 4 decades of door repair experience. With Busy Bee, you receive the knowledge and experience that you and your garage deserve. And they can usually repair most door problems on their first visit. Their services include installation, maintenance, repairs, and the satisfaction of having your garage free of rats and anything else that can otherwise sneak in there. Call Busy Bee Doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
What are you planting this spring? Whatever it is, you'll find the seed you need to give your crops a great start at Lakeside Seeds, your Secan dealer in Wynyard. They carry a complete line of cleaned and certified cereals, peas, and more. Ask about AAC Elida VB Spring Wheat, CDC Bow Malt Barley, and CDC Roland Flax varieties. The best crops and the best yields start with top quality seed from Lakeside Seeds. Call today, 306-554-2078. Lakeside Seeds, your Secan dealer in Wynyard, 2 miles east and 1 mile south of Dafo.
The Sportscage clutch performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
All right. Clutch performer, Nick Service, Emerald Park. I'll start the first one. Couple of gentlemen from the Yorkton Terriers last night. Tate Schofer scores with 4 seconds left. This is after Melville scored to go up with like 45 seconds-ish. The story's at sportscage.com. 4 seconds left, tie game, and then David Coyle scores the overtime winner. Heartbreak Melville. Game 3 tomorrow. Yorkton's up 2-0. I want to know how Elvis Stoico did on Saturday, too. I'm really looking forward to talk to Benny about that tomorrow. How was Elvis Elvis, that's why they couldn't play Game 2 Saturday in Yorkton. Elvis Stoico was with some skating touring group, and he was out there twirling. Good on him, for starters. Now I'm picturing Elvis Stoico in a slim good bodysuit out there on the ice.
Well, there's certain athletes that could pull that off. Because for the average person, that doesn't, there's no secrets when you're wearing that.
You're not hiding. You're out there.
Yeah, you're not. Trust me. If you're the guy that wears the black hoodie and you're always pulling it when you're at the gym. Speaking of the gym, we'll get to that later. I got a couple of crazy stories. If I could have made some videos this weekend, but I don't want to get kicked out. You can't be the guy making videos in the gym. But I'm like, it's for the sports cage. Honestly, this is for content purposes. Anyways, my clutch performer, it's a trio because yesterday it was all them. Maddox Schultz, Eli Johnson, Jonas Sivertson were in on both goals. They did all the scoring yesterday when the Patsies beat the Moose Jaw Warriors to go up 1-0 in that SAS AAA midget final. And could you imagine, now keep in mind, Sivertson's a PA Raider, Maddox Schultz, we don't know yet, but did you imagine if those guys could play together for the next couple of years, just the damage that they could do?
Well, Sirkin and Schultz played together last year for the Regina Pats Blues, and they both had like 190 points each. Exaggerating, I get it a bit, but they were unreal. In that game also, I'll give a shout out to both goaltenders, or the goaltenders. Taylor Tabashniuk, 26 saves for the Patsies, but Luke McKechnie on the other side, 35 saves in the loss. Not sure if he's related to the hand model from the Seinfeld episode, but 35 saves from Luke. They go Game 2 tomorrow. Remember, people, it's in Assiniboia.
Yeah, if you check the SAS AAA site, it says Temple Garden Center, but because they're putting the ice in for curling, it's not available. That's why the game's gotten moved.
Yeah, and I'm just, like I said, sportscage.com has a recap of that game if you want to go to there. Okay, so my last one. If you're watching the stream, and if not, I'm going to talk this out. It was like craziness in the NCAA Women's Hockey Championship. A puck was covered in the crease, so Wisconsin gets a penalty shot with 18 seconds left. Her name is Kristen Sims. That move could be illegal actually, because some people are saying it wasn't moving forward. But this could be one of the sickest shootout moves. Go up and look at it. I retweeted it. The goalie's like nowhere to be found. Like, look at her hands on bad ice with 18 seconds left. If that puck rolls, she's schlachtrafu, as my mom would say. That was, and then they go to overtime, and Wisconsin Badgers, they won the national championship. Kristen Sims is her name. That was a sick goal. What do the kids say? She slaps. Good job, Coulson, getting that up. That is Clutch Performer. Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. Let's go break time here.
Can I add a last minute Nick Service Clutch Performer? My neighbor on the weekend, on the cul-de-sac, brought out his motorcycle on Saturday morning, and it was like exactly 10 o'clock when I got home. And he just sat there and he started up and he just revved it for like 15 minutes. He didn't go anywhere. He eventually wheeled it back in the garage. He just sat there and he just revved his motorcycle for 15 solid minutes. And his wife's a nice lady. He seemed like a decent guy, but it was just like, is it a neighborhood flex? It's almost motorcycle season. He just was out there just revving the you-know-what out of this
spark
thing.
Plugs in. Is out there. Is he there all the time, or does he work like 7 out, 7 in?
No, he's home all the time. I see him at school dropping off the kids and stuff. And it's not like a Harley or anything like that. It's like a Honda or something like that. But he just sat there and he just
a Vespa.
It was like a rite of passage. He just sat there, and it was like, you know, when you see somebody that smokes a cigarette and enjoys every drag, like they're just enjoying the whole situation. He just sat there. It was like therapy. Because I was watching out the window because we're nosy like that, and I'm like, just again and again and again, and then he shut her down and wheeled it back in the garage. Didn't even drive it. He just pushed it back in, and then closed the garage door. And I didn't see him the rest of the weekend.
Okay, sorry. Sheriff and Colson want to get in on the clutch performer for Nick's service.
Okay, the guy I was going to go for is Wyatt Hendrickson beating former Olympic champion, former WWE superstar Gabe Stevenson to win the NCAA male heavyweight championship.
What? So the one guy's in NCAA and he's a former World Wrestling Federation guy?
He did. Yeah, he got signed, but then they released some. He
Cool.
did win it previously, and then he also won in the 2020 in the Olympics.
Oh. Those guys in those singlets, and then they get cauliflower ears.
I saw this. This was pretty impressive because this was like a real long shot. And then he comes through and he ends up winning. Hendrickson?
Great. If we're watching on the stream here, Orange wins or
Orange wins? Yeah.
Wow.
Orange wins.
Upset.
Yeah.
Look at the emotion.
And I think he's a sergeant in the Air Force as well.
Yeah.
The guy that just won.
American flag there. Okay, good one, Alan. Good find, Colson.
I got to give mine to Jonathan David. I think his name was, if I'm remembering correctly.
There's a David Jonathan.
Yeah, he scores the winning goal for Canada in. In CONCACAF soccer. Yeah, thank you. In almost the 60th minute there. Gives us the bronze medal over the USA, which, anytime we can beat USA, that's a big one there. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Mexico and Panama in the gold medal, but who really cares?
Bronze. Look at us. Look at those people excited.
Where was the game? That wasn't at Mosaic.
No, it wasn't.
Not a Commonwealth. No, it's somewhere down south.
Yeah.
Mexico?
Maybe. I'll keep reading here and I'll get back to you. But
good one though. Yeah, Canada, huge win, 2-1 over the USA. And then while we're here, let's give one to Rachel Holman.
Oh.
Let's be serious.
Sorry.
How good is she at curling? First female skip to go back-to-back at the Worlds since Sandra Schmirler, 93, 94. Holman's a wagon.
It was. Now, keep in mind, my wife and daughters be like, she's not wearing makeup again. That was, okay, besides that was big in our house. They were noticing she's not. She played so well. Some of the shots she was making were just incredible. And it's funny, in that final game when they were taking on Switzerland, you could just tell, because they wrapped it after 9 to be like, well, there's no way that they could score 4. Let's just shake hands. Let's get off the ice. I was watching them in the dressing room after. They had drinks going and stuff like that, and they're doing this crazy after the game thing where they all had their hands in. It was pretty neat. That's a fun plane ride home from Korea when you come home with a gold medal.
First class, I hope.
Oof. You'd hope.
Pod.
You'd hope.
The game was in SoFi Stadium, by the way.
Cali.
Yeah. Mexico beat Panama 2-1 for gold.
SoCal. Out on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 93662, Cam, he sent in, I heard Bobby Hull pronounce it as Punichi once at a telethon years ago. Punichai. Bobby Hull. What a weapon. And then someone just messaged in, Maz. Oh, it's Roscoe. My neighbor revs his motorcycle like that. Fires up my steel chainsaw. And is Roscoe saying he fires up his chainsaw? Yeah. Well, fight fire with fire, Roscoe. It's only one way to do it out there in Kindersley. But, yeah, motorcycle. Now, in Regina, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have seen, you got to keep your head on a swivel. Construction time.
Oh, I know.
I took the wrong way to work today. I'm like, I knew this was coming too. And I guarantee I'll take it. I'll take the wrong way on the way home. In the next 2 hours here, I'll forget. Construction
We were talking about this on the show last week because it is that time of year. Although it's not pristine conditions, the bike lane people are back. And you really have to keep an eye out for them because they're just darting out of everywhere.
I don't know one person in my whole network that uses a bike lane.
Me neither.
In either city.
Yeah. I don't.
Isn't the whole purpose of a bike is just to be able to go wherever you want?
And not be restricted?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to cut across that field over there. At red light, that doesn't matter. I'm on a bike. We'll come back. We'll talk about Hoopla, which wrapped up high school sports. We love them here on the Sportscage 620 CKRM.
Something all drivers have in common? Your vehicle should have a winter inspection. Landry's Napa Auto Pro specializes in full-service inspections. With certified mechanics on site, they handle everything from minor repairs to major overhauls. When you take your vehicle to Landry's service, your car is in the right hands. And quality Napa batteries always have the best prices. Landry's Napa Auto Pro, located on North Winnipeg Street, serving Regina for over 50 years.
Are you ready for your garage packages? Freeze Tallman can help. When choosing your building materials, go for a local family-run Saskatchewan business instead of those other guys. They offer a variety of garage packages that suit your needs and fully customizable. Support the folks who keep it close to home. They can even install it for you, now taking bookings. When planning your next building project, think Freeze Tallman. Freeze Tallman, let's get you building.
Bidding is now open for the Tond Online Land Auction for the Darrow family south of Caryville, Saskatchewan. Register to bid at macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, 2 quarter sections of farmland in the RM of Argyle. Got land to sell? Call the Saskatchewan Land Auctioneers today. Saskatchewan owned and Canadian made. Bidding closes on the Darrow land this Friday, March 28th at 10 a.m.
That's the timed online land auction for the Darrow family. Bidding closes March 28th at 10 a.m.
Come join an unforgettable evening at the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction on Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Center. This year's special guest will be Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Millar. Pre-dinner drinks will start at 6 p.m. and dinners at 7. And don't forget the live and silent auction. Tickets are available at reginaredsox.com. Get your tickets now for the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction Saturday, April 26th. And support Regina Red Sox baseball. Presented by Dusick and Barlow Insurance at SGI Canada. Play ball!
Welcome back to Sports Cage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
Maz is with me today, Colson and the Sheriff. Thanks to Kellen Solar, our Monday sponsor. 35 years experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. You can visit them at kellensolar.com. They're in Lumsden. Look them up. Great guys, local. And you deal with the owners there as well. Have you ever, anybody in this room ever gone to Hoopla? Been around Hoopla, the high school provincial basketball championships?
No,
awesome.
We were never good enough to make it. Remember, you had to be good to get invited to tournaments? Because thankfully Brit was our own. So we got the auto invite because we were hosting it. But other than that, never good enough.
I remember covering it with a Global in Saskatoon, and the intense, like anything high school. Like we covered high school football like no one ever has, and we're hopefully again this year. It's the same thing. I know they had volleyball; it gets like that. High school curling can like elbows up, but it is such a tight tournament, and it's kind of the same time as March Madness, right? So everyone's kind of got this basketball vibe going on. And it is just awesome. So I want to run down, shout out. We should have got our music, our marching band music here, but that's on me. Girls 1A champions, Priestville. 2A, St. Brew. 3A, Wynyard. 4, Harvest City. I think they're from Regina. And the 5A girls champs, the Laboldus Golden Sun.
That high school has got a lot of banners in a lot of different sports. Like they're good at a lot of stuff.
I got notes here. St. Brew in the 2A girls, St. Brew beat Wilkie 49-47. 2-point game. That would have been off the charts. And then on the boys' side, Porcupine Plain 1A. Saskatoon Christian School in the 2A. Man, Christian schools are good. Because in the 3A, Regina Christian School won. 4A, Maz, your boys from Moose Jaw Central dumped Regina Johnson in the championship game. 15-point game there. And then 5A. Holy Cross Crusaders, Saskatoon, a 2-point win over their rivals. Like, you can literally, if you got a good arm, you can throw a ball from Holy Cross to Walter Murray on, what is that, Taylor? 2-point game. 2-point game. Cross over Murray. They win. Shout out Regina Martin. They picked up bronze. That's what happened at Hoopla.
Speaking of basketball, and the movie's been on Amazon Prime for a long time, but I just never watched it. I watched Air over the weekend. That's the Michael Jordan shoe story with Nike, starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Really good movie. About Sonny Vaccaro, the guy that ended up signing Michael Jordan to that shoe contract. Now, keep in mind, I'm sure it's based on a true story, so like me, I'll bite anything in the movie hook, line, and sinker. Of course that happened. It was really good. Sneaky underrated.
Sonny, he just came out with a book a little while ago. I heard him on Dan Patrick. I think it was Dan Patrick. Talking about it. That's an unreal story.
Mm-hmm.
Visionary, right? And the risk. The Jordans had no business signing with him. That's the other thing.
It was Adidas and Converse. But the thing about the Sonny Vaccaro, the year after, like in 91, they won their first championship, Nike fires Sonny. And then he goes to Reebok.
Yeah.
The guy that brought him all this, gone. Done.
Gonzo.
Fired.
Speaking of towns with tough names, we've been kind of talking about that today. If you're not from Saskatchewan or just moved here and you try and read on the radio, back in the younger days, Momart, Moosomin, Assiniboia, Bengoff, Bullier, they're all tough. Delisle was another one that somebody sent in on the text line, 936-6262. Delisle and the Wesleys play tonight. Game 6.
Yeah.
7:45 in Dizzle. If you're on Highway 7.
And in a commercial we just ran, if you were to read it, it could be Dafo, but it's Dafo.
Dafo. Right up against news here almost. 5 o'clock. We start for Campbell Safety and Consulting. Darian Durant. You got a lot for Darian today?
Should we ask him who he's going to vote for in the upcoming federal election?
Yeah, no, I'll save that for Wednesday when you have no, who does he always have on Monday with him? Charleston. Jeez, drawing a blank.
Oh, no. So, yeah, I reached out to Charleston, but he could be at the gym doing an upper body workout, so he hasn't texted back yet. But I want to get his thoughts on the whole Ed Hervey, there's no stars in the CFL thing. Because I'm sure Charleston knows him on a personal level, and I want to get Charleston's take on that. But I will say for Wednesday, we already have confirmed former Saskatchewan Roughrider long snapper Randy Chevrier will join us. Now, Randy is a huge CFL fan, and he put out a video on Twitter over the weekend since the Combine was on. He tried to do 25 reps on the bar. We'll see if we can track it down. He does 26, just off the cuff.
That's Wednesday. Cool. All right, news time. Darian Durant, when we come back, it's a Sports Cage streaming, sportscage.com, on X, as always, radio style, 620 CKRM.
Some say the number 13 is bad luck, like walking under a ladder. Well, 13 is a very lucky number when you're talking Western Pizza, like their delicious 13-inch pepperoni from Western Pizza. That makes it, well, the luckiest number of all. Western Pizza, big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or take out. Order today.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Something all drivers have in common? Your vehicle should have a winter inspection. Landry's Napa Auto Pro specializes in full-service inspections. With certified mechanics on site, they handle everything from minor repairs to major overhauls. When you take your vehicle to Landry's service, your car is in the right hands. And quality Napa batteries always have the best prices. Landry's Napa Auto Pro, located on North Winnipeg Street, serving Regina for over 50 years.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
We are 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station, broadcasting live from downtown Regina.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. It's mostly cloudy and it's 4 degrees in Regina. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound and Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. A union representative speaking on behalf of Saskatoon library workers says members at 2 locations have been dealing with an influx of drugs and violence while trying to do their jobs. Kara Stelmaschuk with the Canadian Union of Public Employees 2669 says issues have caused both the Francis Morrison Central Library and the Dr. Frida Aheniku Library to close for 3 weeks.
It's a much-needed mental health concern at this point because they have had to see some very upsetting things. They've seen other people assaulted, and that's had an effect. Again, finding somebody turning blue because they can't breathe on the floor in the library, they administer the shot. They call for help, and they see this person off, into the ambulance or whatever. It all takes a toll.
Saskatoon Public Library says staff have responded to 48 overdoses or drug poisoning so far this year, which is double the number from last year during the same time period. Last week, the government of Saskatchewan brought down its budget for 2025-26. The budget had some tax relief and no big increases, but it didn't set aside any money to handle potential tariffs from China and the U.S. That is something that hasn't sat well with some groups. More from SaskToday.ca's John Cairns.
It was a generally positive response from the business community to the 2025 provincial budget. The Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce gave the budget a thumbs up. They were pleased with some of the tax credits announced in the budget. For others, the tariff threat remains a looming concern. Brianna Sahlberg is with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. She felt there should have been a contingency in the budget to address the impact.
Unfortunately, this budget doesn't include any plan to offset the potential impacts of tariffs should we find ourselves in a long-term trade dispute with the U.S., with China. And I think right now our members are telling us that the unpredictability and the uncertainty that they're facing is greater now than it was even at the height of the pandemic.
We shall wait and see whether the budget did go far enough to deal with the impact of tariffs. For SAS Today, I'm John Cairns.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is defending comments she made on a U.S. podcast earlier this month when she claimed to have asked American officials to pause the threat of tariffs because it was benefiting the federal Liberal Party's chances at re-election. When she was asked about it during question period today, Smith said she wasn't asking a foreign government to interfere in Canada's election. Rather, she was asking the U.S. government not to interfere.
Interference is one thing. Asking the U.S. to refrain from is actually the opposite. I do not want to see anyone interfere in our elections. I want to see the election take place on Canadian issues so that we can put on the table what our issues are in Alberta.
Opposition NDP leader Naheed Nenshi says the Premier's explanation doesn't add up, as he says Smith was inviting a foreign government to interfere to help the Conservative Party of Canada form government. It's 5:03 and that's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Oh, finally. There it is.
Whoa, did you order pizza?
No, even better. I called Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Oh, so what'd you order?
Well, they have all the top-of-the-line smartphones with all the latest features and so many great plans, man.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it is the pizza guy. Hey, guy.
Tell him to go away. We're waiting on Echo Sound.
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Qu'Appelle. EchoSound.ca.
We'll still take the pizza, though.
CoolBet has all the hot games. For all the free-to-play casino games, head to coolbet.co. They've got sports odds, including Saskatchewan senior hockey, plus all the sports odds you can think of. From the ice to the field to the court, CoolBet has you covered. All at your fingertips. No risk, just thrill. So why wait? Get in the game and embrace the unexpected at coolbet.co.
It's 5:04, and I'm Corey Atkinson with your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast, brought to you by Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Now here's Precision Weather meteorologist Steve Adamson.
A weak weather disturbance grazes the region early tonight with some evening cloudiness around and a low chance of a passing rain shower. Thereafter, partly cloudy skies. The low temperature near -4. The chance of any early evening showers is about 30%. Tuesday should be fairly bright with mostly sunny skies, the high temperature reaching 3. It'll be a bit breezy, but those winds diminishing as the day progresses. Tuesday night starts off mostly clear, followed by increasing cloudiness later, the low temperature near -6. Wednesday starts off on the cloudy side, then partial sunshine developing, the high around 2. For the latter part of the week, Thursday, mostly cloudy skies with a brisk breeze, the high near 2, and a weather system moving in on Friday means cloudy skies with a risk for snow or mixed precipitation, the high near -2. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather Meteorologist Steve Adamson.
Across the province at this hour, Saskatoon is 5, Swift Current is 10, Assiniboia 11, Broadview Moosomin 5, Yorkton Melville 4, Estevan 7, and Weyburn is 6. At this hour in Moose Jaw, it's cloudy. Winds are from the east at 11, and it's 5. Regina is mostly cloudy. Winds are from the northeast at 12, and it's 4. For more local news that matters to you, subscribe to our daily newsletter at sasktoday.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Give your crop the best chance for success with power-rich fertilizer. Here's agronomist Shane Lacusta.
Right source, right rate, right time, right place. These are terms that you hear in the industry. We believe in and honor these values since our company's inception 40 years ago, delivering you a high-quality product that is right for you and your bottom line. Isn't it time you tried Power-Rich Fertilizer?
Call Power-Rich Fertilizers today, 1-800-663-GROW, or visit powerrich.com. The future is right in front of you, if you're ready for it.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Hour 3 of the program on Monday. It's Maz with me today, the Sheriff, and Colson. Thanks for tuning in. 936-6262, Prairie Land Rentals text line. You can always have your say, like a lot of people have messaged in today. We started the show by, I don't even know how we started. Oh, when you're young in radio. And if you pronounce a Saskatchewan
freak out on you if you got something wrong.
Yeah. Funeral announcements, the wrong name, mispronounced name, and then you mispronounce a town. Like, you can get run out of a town for that. So we had a bunch of people that mentioned like Momart, Delisle, Moosomin, Assiniboia, Bengoff, Bullier. There's been a number of them. Then we recapped in hour 1, Maz, a busy weekend of sports. We started with SJHL, the craziness that is Yorkton and Melville. Yorkton's up 2-0 in that series. Tate Schofer scored with 4 seconds left after Melville scored with like 50-some seconds left. So they go into overtime. David Coyle scores the OT winner for Yorkton, up 2-0. They're in Melville tomorrow night. We'll be there with this program. somewhere in the beautiful facility, I think the CN Center it's called. Weyburn, Battleford's, Maz, you called it. This could be upset time. I think this one's going Sev.
Well, Martin Smith, a really good coach. Battleford North Stars or Stars. No, the North Stars. Anyways, that I think that just their whole division, they kind of 50, 60 points. I don't know if they played their best hockey, and Weyburn could be in tough here because it's not an easy out. It's funny, the Kindersley, Melfort, and the Flin Flon and Humboldt. Probably no surprise when those teams move on, whether it's 4 games or maybe it takes 5.
Benny from Winnipeg texted in that Melfort Kindersley game, the third period, was nasty. If you're watching the stream, we got unsportsmanlike conducts, we got roughing penalties, we got major fighting, game misconduct, charging, another major fighting, cross-checking, roughing. If you didn't hear the story of my daughter's Pee Wee AA provincial game with Eric Francis, you got to go back and listen to that. The weirdest way a game it wasn't ended, why a goal was disallowed. Never seen it in my 40-some years of being around the sport of ice hockey. It's unbelievable. Midget AAA. Regina Pats Canadians are up 1-0 on Moose Jaw. Big game last night from who else? Maddox Schultz, Jonas Evertson, Eli Johnson. In net, Taylor Tabashniak, 26 saves. They go tomorrow, game 2. From all accounts, it's in Assiniboia. Because Moose Jaw is getting ready for curling. They're putting curling ice in Temple Garden Center. So Assiniboia has welcomed the Weyburn Red Wings this year. Why not welcome the Moose Jaw AAA Warriors? So that'll be a good one tomorrow night. Female AAA League, Saskatoon and Battleford are all tied up 1-1 in that series. Fort Knox swept the Regina Capitals. Junior B action. Now Fort Knox waits. Could be over tonight. Wesley's are up on Delisle. They're playing game 6 tonight. It's
game 6.
Wesley's or Delisle will play Fort Knox. WHL, I'm wearing my Saskatoon Blades hat. Thanks to the fellas at the Blades for dropping that off a couple weeks ago. Saskatoon's going to take on Calgary in tough.
Yeah.
PA.
Everything else.
You talked about how that went down on the weekend, where PA jumped ahead of Saskatoon for that 2 seed.
That was the one that you wanted. But here's the thing: the crusher of them all is that Brandon Lethbridge series, the 1,000-kilometer bus ride in between that we talked about last week. That's ugly. Let's say you're down. If you're a player, let's say you're down, and if you win, you could extend it another game. You'd got to know there's guys being like, no, let's just end this tonight. I don't want to drive another 1,000K bus ride there and back. Let's just wrap her up.
Oof. Medicine Hat Swift. That's a quick one. Stop in Maple Creek. Tompkins Co-op. And then
And here's the thing. It's close, and if the Tigers do what the Tigers do, that could be a quick series as well. It's the 1 versus 8. If they get that done in 4, and the other thing too is the faster you can get these done, and if you can stay healthy, you got a good shot. Because it's funny, you look on the Western side of things, the Everett Silvertips, they've been a beast all year, and if they continue doing what they do, it's going to take anything, whether it's Medicine Hat, Calgary, or Lethbridge, to beat them. They got a good hockey club.
WHL reports always for extreme hockey and sport in Regina, spring hockey season and also ball season. You can also visit Umbrella Marketing for all your team kits if you need jackets, jerseys, anything done. Extreme hockey, always local, always here for you. And then I'll just quickly run down some senior stuff. Round Lake, 8-4 over Kenaston in Game 1 of the Provincial A. They played that in Kenaston last night. I was there. They did a heck of a job. The organizers, to make do, was at rink packed. Like, I can't believe how many people they got in that rink. But Round Lake's up 1-0. They looked really good. Davidson beat Moosomin 2 straight to win Provincial B. Foam Lake, they're Provincial C champs. 2 straight wins over Wilkie, and Redvers is up 1-0 on Edam. Shout out to Assiniboia and the Nauticu. They won the crown there in the Sask East. Kenora Cobras are your champions. The Qu'Appelle Valley Highway Hockey League, Lumsden and Raymore, they're still going to throw down. Lumsden leads 2-1. They're playing Game 4 Friday in Raymore. We ran down Hoopla. Rachel Holman wins the World Curling Championships. Canada beat USA in soccer 2-1. Bronze medal match. What else did we miss?
Well, it's funny. On the senior hockey front, so last Wednesday we had Travis Ridgen on, who is a host of the Slang and the Biscuit podcast, and he was talking about playing in the federal prospect leagues down in the States. Yeah. He played in South Carolina. He was talking about getting paid $150 or $175 a week. And you had texted me just with some of the crazy numbers that some guys get per game for playing senior hockey. Just for one game. And these guys are down there trying to live the dream for $150 a week to try and keep their pro career going. Like, that's nuts.
We got them on the line. It's time for our weekly visit with Doubles.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Darian, nice to see you there. Maz and I were talking about this just as we went into break at the top of the hour. I am so curious to get your take on the Ed Hervey situation. He didn't come out. He didn't really apologize on saying there's no superstars in the league. Then he kind of clarified his view of a superstar is Muhammad Ali, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, guys
somebody
like
that
that.
Transcends
Yeah.
their sports.
I don't know. Harry on Friday said, no, don't apologize. It's out there. Double down on it, if anything. What's your take on this whole thing, Darian?
You know what? It's tough, man, because, if you're looking for a generational player, I think the league hasn't seen one of those since, Anthony Calvillo or Ricky Race. So, I can kind of see where he's coming at the same, give you your livelihood, right? You don't want to, step on the league that gives you your livelihood. So I don't think, I don't like it. It was kind of distasteful. But if you think about where he's coming from, or I'm sure he'll double down on it, like you said, there really isn't a transcendent type player in the league right now. So I could kind of see both sides of it.
But here's the weird thing. So it's Combine weekend. He's going to be interviewing guys. Now, I wonder if anybody had the stones to ask him. Not that they want to jeopardize their pro career, to be like, Ed, come on now. Like, if I come and play for your team, are you going to be tearing me to shreds for clicks and sound bites, for likes and TikTok views? Like, is this the kind of – it kind of does set the tone for what life may be like if you're going to be an Edmonton Elk. That with Ed, Wildcard Hervey running things, you never know. The roller coaster ride, going to go up, it's going to go down.
Yeah, especially for a guy like Trey Ford, I would say, who is an up-and-coming star in the league, who has the potential to be one of those type of players, right? For your GM to say that and, show that he kind of doesn't see you as that type of player, I don't like it. So, it's kind of questionable for guys who are entering that organization to really feel like you have the support and backing of the higher ups, because, when you say things like that, it definitely makes guys think twice about wanting to prolong or wanting to begin their career in a place like that.
I think it also could work the other side, the other way too. It's like, you look at other sports, sometimes you want just a straight shooter, someone that's a little bit of an open book. It's like, don't sugarcoat it. Don't be phony baloney. Which personality am I getting on this day? Just, you know what I mean, Darian?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you want to look at it like that as well. But as an athlete, let's say you're in your 4th, 5th year in the league, And now you're entering a situation where it's time for you to get paid and really get paid. And you want to get paid like the upper echelon guys, the guys who are kind of your transcendent guys. You're going to think about the Edmonton Elks and Ed Hervey and the things that he said. And, you're going to be like, should I even go there where a GM says that, there's not a guy that can transcend the league or is a guy that is a superstar player? Do you even want to, have a guy like that as your boss? Because you'll feel like he'll give you a year or two. And if you don't do, what he thinks you should do, he'll get you out of there. So, like I said, it could go either way. I love a straight shooter, but there are different ways that you should straight shoot, right? But not about the talent of your team. I mean, I don't care. You could have the worst team in the world, but you're supposed to come out in the media and say how good you are and say how you believe in your player. So if a GM says something like that, as an athlete, you think twice about it.
The one thing that, for all the people that were outraged, and I saw all sorts of people. I love reading the comments. I never used to, but that's what I do. Politics and sports. I read comments.
You're getting old.
I'm getting old, and my kids are like, they're busy doing other stuff. So, but I was like, this is exactly who Ed Hervey is. This isn't the first time he said something like this. It's not going to be the last. So why is everybody getting a bent out of shape? If you paid attention to the Ed Hervey story, even like a few weeks before, when you find out when Gino Lewis is like, yeah, Ed never even really talked to me about coming back, or I'd be like, well, this is kind of who he is. So why are we surprised? I just found that it was weird.
We shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's Combine weekend. If anything, say this after, because you're going to be talking to all of these guys. Like, how do you walk around the hotel going from room to room to room? That was the hard part. And the other thing, too, is you would have to know. Other teams are using this as ammo to be like, do you really want to be part of that? Or do you want to come and be part of what we're doing over here? Like that.
Absolutely. I can hear a GM of another team's. Yeah, a GM is saying that as they're courting these free agents and bringing them in, and they're comparing contracts. You have a contract with Edmonton on the table, and then you have a contract with another team, and of course the GM is going to use that, to his leverage a little. Do you really want to go play for a guy who doesn't believe that you're a superstar, doesn't believe in the ability that you have? So, the timing of it is kind of weird, but in all fairness to Ed, I mean, none of these CFL guys at the Combine are superstars yet, or, it'll take a while for them to develop into that. So I think he's really just speaking on the vets and the guys around the league. And, in all fairness, someone needs to take that as motivation and step up and try to prove them wrong.
The Combine was here. I had a chance to go by on Friday. Picked up a few things. Like the one story, I thought it was so cool. There was a mom there dropping off like a Tupperware of chicken and rice for her son. Can you make sure he gets this? Here's his name. Just different things like that. And Darian, I don't, being up close to these athletes at their age, and it was more the big guys. Like, can they move? And I don't know, like, it's just an all-round training thing. You mentioned Rob Bagg on the show before, how Bagg was just, a physical specimen and just a training all the time. On the other side of that, who do you remember playing with that was just naturally, could almost, like the old NHL guys that show up at training camp and they didn't even train? Were there some guys that were just naturally could just pick it up and go?
Yeah, the guy that sticks out the most for me, and he was a fan favorite, was Kitwana Jones. I actually went to college with Kitwana, but when I got to Saskatchewan, that's when I saw his man body. Like, he really, developed into the professional Kitwana. And, man, he was just stacked, from top to bottom. And, you're not supposed to look at guys like that, but I'm sorry. Whenever you would put your eye on him, you'd just be like, wow, what is he? All right, man. No, I'm serious, though.
Yeah.
A lot of guys were in envy of, he didn't work out the hardest. He just was naturally gifted. So he's definitely a guy that was well put together.
Because there are some people that, we've seen this in hockey, it could be any sport, they could just walk on. I remember watching a guy play in a slow pitch baseball game in like boat shoes, like casual dress shoes. like hit triples and run bases like he was wearing cleats and he had everything on, because it just comes so naturally. But Darian, it's also a little frustrating for a guy if you got to work out all the time and do all this and eat properly and all that. You got to try and do everything you can, and some guy just shows up 10 minutes before practice starts, gets out there and can just tear it up and then be done and then just leave it and be like, on to the next thing.
I know, man. I was one of those guys. I wasn't blessed with the highest metabolism. You know, I remember a time during training camp. You know, during training camp, we would always weigh in every other day, right? You know, the strength staff and the coaches always wanted you to make sure that you're keeping your weight under wraps. So I remember I decided to eat some pizza with the boys. So I had 2 slices of pizza, man, and I put on 2 pounds. I could not believe it, right? And then you have some guys who can eat 4, 5, 6 slices, and they won't gain a pound. So, of course, I was definitely jealous of those guys. I just wasn't born with that type of metabolism. And, you know, hats off to those guys who can eat and do whatever they want and not have to work out.
I'd fall into the category like Darian, that if I look at something like that, I'll gain weight. I am not genetically.
Okay, as you guys both have no idea. What was hey? While we're on this, what was your go-to pregame meal, Darian?
If we had an early game, I would go with steak and eggs. If we had a 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock game, that way I can get in, you know, a good breakfast early on. But later in the day, I was I would stay with the steak, but then I would go with the potato. You know, I would get a little bit more carbs, a little bit more energy, and go with that. But steak was my go-to protein on game day for sure.
I'm always curious, what do you eat after a game? Like after it's done and you're leaving the stadium, let's say it's a home game, because if you're on the road, it's totally different. Like I'd be starving. Some guys maybe want to go drink and party. I don't know if you win or lose, but what's the food after the game situation for you?
Well, in the locker room, they'd be, you know, 8 to 10 pizzas in there, subs. You know, you would pretty much have your choice. But me, I would like to go out with the fellas. We would go to a bar somewhere, you know, Earl's, the Keg, something like that. And, you know, I was a taco guy. You know, I like to have a nice taco or burrito after a game and some beer. You know, I would, you know, tune into my my Spanish or my Latino side and go with the taco and beer after the game. Whenever it's you had a long week and you finally get that first beer in you, there's no better food to have than a taco with that.
Just rip a taco time too. Now I'm craving taco time as it's close to supper. There you go. That's really good. Okay, NFL wise, it sounds like Aaron Rodgers visited Pittsburgh.
6 hours.
Can it just happen already? Like the Giants. Who did the Giants sign?
Jameis Winston.
Yeah. So they're tapped on the interception front.
Man, I don't know. This is like I said, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I said it last week, it would be a no-brainer with Pittsburgh. It's the best situation. You have 2 great young receivers. You have just a franchise that's just built on tradition. You know, they're going to win. They're always a playoff team. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I would definitely lean towards Pittsburgh. But part of me believes that he may be done. I mean, you know, how much more can you accomplish in Pittsburgh? You know, what are you trying to accomplish? I don't see Pittsburgh as a Super Bowl team. You know, I don't see him playing at that MVP caliber anymore. So at this point in your career and at this stage, what more do you have to prove? What are you trying to do? Because I don't see a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh. And, you know, you're going out there and you're risking so much more than just, you know, bodily harm. You have to think about your mind as well. So if I'm him, I would seriously consider that retirement part. But I know how hard it is to hang up the cleats once you're in it because, you know, when you have a lot of doubters, you want to prove them wrong for sure.
So this is the thing for anybody that ever wants to take shots at the CFL for whatever it is or isn't. Look at the NFL, 32 teams, the biggest money spectacle when it comes to sports. There's maybe 15 good quarterbacks, and they can't even figure it out. Okay? With some of the richest people that could write the biggest checks, and there's not enough quarterbacks to have one good one on a team. So for anybody that ever wants to say anything, like, look at this, that we're this far into free agency and the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to sift through like the rotten fruit section, the discount section at Safeway to be like, oh, Aaron, well, no, this side Aaron Rodgers looks good. Well, that side Aaron Rodgers looks bad. To be like, that's your choice because you got rid of Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. This just shows you that, man, it's hard to find a good quarterback. And once you find one, you have to lock them in. And whatever the market pay is, you just have to pay these guys because you could set your franchise back years by not having a quarterback that can put you in a position to compete. So, like you said, there's only a handful of good ones. And once you find one, you better hold on to them because they're hard to find.
The one thing that no one's really talking about, and I guess I just don't know the game well enough, and I don't know, like, Atlanta. There's probably never a better time to get off that Kirk Cousins contract and maybe go with Penix Jr. But no one's talking about it. People, they're desperate for quarterbacks, Darian.
But you have to have two. And when you have a rookie like Penix, I mean, I know he shows these flashes and he has all the potential in the world. But if something happens to him, he gets banged up or he starts struggling, sort of like what happened to Bryce Young in Carolina, where, he just wasn't himself early on and it took him some time to develop and play with that confidence. You have to have a backup that can come in and help. And Kirk Cousins is that guy, just like Andy Dalton was that guy for Bryce Young in Carolina. So if you're Atlanta, you have to hold on to Kirk Cousins. It's hard to find a backup as well, let alone a starter. And so you have two capable guys in-house, you have to hold on to them.
That's why I think Joe Flacco might play till he's 70. Just everybody's number two forever. Maz, I'm done. Do you got anything else for Darian?
Well, here was the thing, and we all keep waiting to see if the Dallas Cowboys are going to do anything great in free agency. They've re-signed a couple of their own guys, but it seemed once again Jerry's just kind of staying away from, and all the good ones seem to be gone. Like what hope is there for Cowboy fans this year outside of some funny memes on the internet?
I think the best thing for Dallas is just to put your head down and look at this draft and just try to get as many good players.
Oh, we might have lost him.
It's funny.
We might, know what?
Dallas Cowboys, and then everything just went to hell.
Yeah. Put your head down
Sharky.
and put your head
Sorry,
down.
Sharky.
It's over. Darian's also always brought to you by our friends at Campbell Safety Consulting. If you harassment in the workplace, it's a big one these days. A lot of companies don't know how to handle it correctly. Do you know what to do? If not, call Campbell Safety Consulting. They can help you out. We'll go to quick break. Boys are telling us it's break time. It's the Sportscage. Maz, Colson, Sheriff, streaming on X, sportscage.com, and on 620 CKRM.
At Nutrien, feeding the future is our purpose. It's what we do every day. We're proud to partner with more than 275 community organizations across Saskatchewan. We invest in education, agricultural research, and initiatives that strengthen the places we call home. As the province's largest private sector employer, we take pride in supporting the next generation joining Saskatchewan's workforce. Because when our communities grow, we all grow. Nutrien, from mine to farm to you. Nutrien.com/future.
All aboard?
Me?
You bet.
At Twin Anchors, all their boats have a hot tub, fireplace, sun deck and slide, and so much more. Get into vacay mode. Take a dip in the lake, play some golf, lay on the beach, go for a hike.
Boat sleeps 2 to 28 people. Bring the whole family.
Come on, gang.
12 different styles to choose from. Visit twinanchors.com.
Fostering is all about families helping families. It can be a challenging and rewarding way to make a meaningful contribution to a child's life. At the Saskatchewan Foster Families Association, we help create healthy homes and brighter futures for children and youth in care through member education, training, and advocacy. Can you imagine yourself becoming a foster parent? Visit saskfosterfamilies.ca to learn more.
It'll be take me out to the ball game or take me down to the rink before you know it. And Extreme Hockey and Sport will have you ready for everything this season. You'll be all set for the ball diamond with team kits, bats, gloves, accessories, and training products in stock. And of course, they've got everything to get you geared up for spring hockey. Whatever your spring sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered. 1425 McIntyre Street and the Pro Shop, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
So no hockey tonight in the area, but if you're in Delisle, and I know we have some listeners up there, Saskatoon Wesley's trying to wrap it up against Delisle, and they'll take on Fort Knox. That game goes tonight. They're getting ready in Assiniboia. A couple of people texted. They're going to Assiniboia tomorrow. They're making the trek to go watch the Warriors and the Pats Seas. We had Derek Francis on. The NHL, man, like, I don't know if I've ever been so dumbfounded on who to bet on going into the... We've talked about this a number of times. I'm rooting. For some reason now I'm a Winnipeg Jets. I'm just pulling, hoping. But you mentioned Colorado.
Well, the one story I like out of St. Louis, I guess when Shen went to management and said, hey, listen, don't trade me. There's more here than you guys see. Just give us a chance. We can get this thing going. And they have. Sometimes not making a trade is the best move you can make.
Good managers. Listening to the boots on the ground. Detroit's in Utah tonight. They got a chance to Utah get a little bit closer maybe. Minnesota's at Dallas, Columbus visiting the Islanders, and then the Vancouver Canucks, New Jersey Devils.
Yeah,
I think the Canucks are cooked.
If they don't beat Jersey tonight, it gets that much harder because St. Louis keeps winning. The Flames miraculously keep winning, and the Canucks just got to keep pace. They just got to keep pace because I don't think anybody's catching Minnesota, so there's only that one spot up for grabs.
The Prairieland Rentals text line went off earlier when we started about town names. So many of the people saying the same ones that we did, the Momarts, the Delisles, Moosomin. We also went back and learned about Slim Goodbody. If anybody's in our demographic, you remember that weird human in that bodysuit. Colson found a picture of it, and it's even more disturbing now.
So there was Slim Goodbody, but remember, because Eric mentioned taking French in school. Do you remember watching that show where it was a French program? I think it was from CBC. Their guy was dressed up like
He shoots, he scores?
No, he was dressed up like a hobo. Now, don't freak out when I say this because there's no other way to say that, but he looked like he was, he came on, and he was dressed like a hobo / clown, and this was supposed to teach you stuff.
Oh.
This was education in the late 70s and early 80s in public school in Saskatchewan. All right.
I do not remember that at all. I'll have to look into it.
I'm sure it's out there. I can't, but yes. But there was this French program. It was about 15 minutes, and they would bring it in. They would show it to us to help us learn French.
Have you ever watched the documentary on Mr. Dressup?
No, but I think I just saw the thumbnail for that. I'm going to watch that.
You have to. It just takes you back. What a nice man. And that guy really carved out a career for himself. He was American too, I think, if I remember correctly.
Was his name Ernie Toombs?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. What a beauty. Could that guy draw? He could cut things. Still to this day, my wife's like, don't cut that. Let me cut it. I'm awful. Cutting paper.
But so you said something earlier in the show, and I'm going to take you up on this, when you said there are draft emails that you have not sent to teachers that have been teaching your kids that your wife will not let you send. Because I thought first it would just be all grammatical and spelling would be awful. But if there's content as well besides the spelling errors, Like, I'm going to have to see some of these emails. Georgie Porgy messaged in. Timekeeping and announcing tonight's 18A Hockey Regina League Finals. Game 1 in Balgony between Prairie Storm and Regina Falcons. Game 2 Wednesday, back in Balgony. So there's hockey. 18A in Balgony. And I found out there's a nice little tavern in Balgony last week. We're going to break here. Al Millar, we're going to rerun that for anyone that missed it in hour one. Great interview with the GM of the Pats. When we come back, Dave Thomas he was at the Combine, had a chance to talk to Regina's Ethan Vibert. So Dave will have that when we come back. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
Something all drivers have in common? Your vehicle should have a winter inspection. Landry's Napa Auto Pro specializes in full-service inspections. With certified mechanics on site, they handle everything from minor repairs to major overhauls. When you take your vehicle to Landry's service, your car is in the right hands. And quality Napa batteries always have the best prices. Landry's Napa Auto Pro, located on North Winnipeg Street, serving Regina for over 50 years.
Bidding is now open for the timed online land auction for the Darrow family south of Caryville, Saskatchewan. Register to bid at macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, 2 quarter sections of farmland in the RM of Argyle. Got land to sell? Call the Saskatchewan Land Auctioneers today. Saskatchewan owned and Canadian made. Bidding closes on the Darrow land this Friday, March 28th at 10 a.m.
That's the timed online land auction for the Darrow family. Bidding closes March 28th at 10 a.m.
Olympic Buildings is looking for post-frame building crews to construct their post-frame buildings. This can be from any part of the province, and they'll pay better than industry average. To talk about getting your company to construct their buildings, visit olympic-buildings.ca.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. Powered by Prairie Land Rentals. They've got everything you need for your projects. 600 Albert Street. PrairieLandRental.com. Sportscage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com, on our YouTube channel, and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports. 620 CKRM.
Overall perspective of the Combine so far?
No, I think it's been good. Some good players here. It's good competition.
Are you watching what they're doing, or are you just focusing on what you're doing?
I'm really just focusing on myself. Honestly, cheer them on when you see you have a good play, but really main focus is just making sure I'm doing what I need to do, get the job done.
What's this event been like for you, having it back in Saskatchewan? Is it easier or harder?
I think it's easier. I got support of my family and friends here watching me, cheering me on, and yeah.
You've played in the States for a while now. Has translating your game from the Canadian game to the U.S. game back to the Canadian game been difficult?
I think that first transition from Canadian to the U.S. was the hardest, but I feel like it's a little less challenging switching back to Canadian, so that hasn't been too bad.
When you move from either side of the line, I know the footwork differs all the time and you have to show off your versatility. Is that more mental than physical?
A little bit, yeah. Just making sure, you're not still thinking you're going a certain way on a play, but the physical part's definitely an aspect. You kind of get that comfortable taking those steps and line up in that stance and having to switch back and forth. It takes a little getting used to, but...
When you are working at an event like this, do you try to take something away that you can build on your game with after this is all said and done?
Yeah, they got great coaches here, and just trying to absorb as much as possible, take the coaching in, and get better from it, adds another tool to your toolbox.
The interview process, what's it been like, or what's it going to be like, or can you answer that yet?
Yeah, started those yesterday. It's been good, it's kind of nervous. Worst part is just waiting around, are they going to grill me? Is it going to be a little more relaxed? But they've all been good so far. And
is it like a job interview? Is it more like a conversation about life and times over a cup of coffee? What's the atmosphere like?
It's almost a mix of both. There's some more of those just questions about who you are as a person, and there's some more down to business, more specific to your position or what you've done at your school and so on.
Everybody talks about those oddball questions. I don't know if you've had one thrown your way or not, but are you on edge waiting for that?
I haven't had any yet, but yeah, definitely like just wait and see if somebody's going to throw a question that just kind of throws you for a loop and you weren't quite ready for, but...
All right, so what do you need to show and hopefully have shown here at this event to move forward towards the draft?
You know, I hope I've just shown that I'm a hardworking, physical guy and take coaching well and just kind of doing whatever I can do, you know, to get eyes on me.
Are you ready to win big? YAC Auctions is conducting an online auction for JG Pizzi Incorporated. Featured in the sale is 7 Claws, 780 TT Combines, 7 MacDon headers, 3 air drills, 2 Brent grain carts, and more. The online auction takes place March 24th to 28th online at yacauctions.com. If you want to check out the equipment, come on down to our yard. We're 4 miles east of Yorkton, just off Highway number 10. Or give us a call for more information, 306-782-59.